own.
Well, that was unpleasant. It was a tough watch, Super Bowl 60, but the Seahawks get it done. They absolutely smack the New England Patriots last night and complete for Sam Darnold one of the best redemption stories you've ever seen. We're happy to have you this morning. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you would like to participate, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. We will talk about the Super Bowl, of course. We will talk about the fallout. We will talk about the things that we learned from this past NFL season, now that the NFL season has officially reached its conclusion. But I feel that we need to bring a personal matter to air before we get any further.
No. Everything that I've brought to air this morning, you guys have had a big stink about, so I'm not bringing anything to air.
The only one that stinks is you, okay? I don't understand how somebody, the rest of America, is going through their various Super Bowl party recovery process, right? Like, this should be a day off for America, yes?
It will be in the distant, maybe not so distant future.
What do we got to do? What new world order has to take place where we can officially make the Monday following the Super Bowl a national holiday? Nobody should work today.
Well, you know what has to happen.
What has to happen?
The NFL goes to 18 games.
Okay, very good.
Just push it another week. We got President's Day a week from today.
Let's build it in, because at this point, it's I feel like most people are in a bit of a fog, whether you drank or ate too much or whatever else you did at your Super Bowl party. Like, you just feel a little polluted the Monday after the Super Bowl. But no more so than Robert, who is threatening us because he's so gassy. Tell the audience what you keep asking Lucas and I to do for you.
Dude, you don't want to talk about the show or the Super Bowl or anything. You have to talk about my gassy assy.
Yeah, because the stream was delayed because you couldn't stop talking about your gassy ass.
I just need help, dude. I just need real friends, real people who understand the strife and the things that you're fighting against on a day like today. You know, fatigue, a little hungover, bellying.
Are you hungover? I didn't see you drink yesterday.
Well, I'm talking about everyone out there with the plight of the Monday after.
Did either of you drink yesterday?
Did not. We were both little good boys.
Maybe a couple beverages. So the Monday after Super Bowl is never about a hangover from drinking for me.
Really?
Never. It is always.
I've definitely been hungover on.
No, that's never the case.
I'm not today. I was drinking just water, and I had a cookie. What a really, really good cookie.
Oh, the sourdough cookies.
Sourdough cookies were amazing. Whoever at the Super Bowl party made the sourdough cookies, those were excellent.
It's always more about the belly hangover of eating way too much on Super Bowl Sunday. But that's always the issue.
Neither of us are having the problems that you're having. Like, you have a particular problem, and I think it's just because of how you pollute your body on a regular basis that it's just rebelling, and you want us to help you through it. And
yes.
I refuse.
The thing is, I wasn't asking you, nor did I expect you to do anything to help your fellow man. All I need is a track record or report card looking into your record, and I would know that you are not going to be there in someone's time of need.
Good.
My other problem is the person that I trust the most, the person that I have to see more than my girlfriend, my dad, my mom, people that I care about, someone that I thought had my back, in Lucas, and Lucas does not care. Lucas is a garbage disposal, the same as me, and all I need is a little help. I just need somebody, anybody, help me out. And Lucas,
no, I don't think that I will help you.
No, tell the audience how you are asking for help. Other than, your general state of being.
Dude,
and that you look as like somebody who just generally needs help in some form or fashion.
I don't think that that's an important part
I think
of
it
this
is.
story.
We'll put it to a poll.
No. Oh, you're willing to put that to a poll?
I did the polls this morning. I showed up early to work today. I'm ready to go.
God forbid somebody ask what your favorite Pokemon is in a poll.
Yeah, I don't want that poll.
All I'm asking is for Lucas. Okay, if you're unfamiliar, you guys know when babies have upset tummies and you'll kind of like grab their feet and like wiggle them a little bit and then pull them and then push their knees back to their chest and they let out like a little
No, I've never seen anybody do that to a child. That sounds awful.
Well, it works. I've seen it work, and I did that once to help my buddy. His tummy was hurting. We were going to a bachelor trip on the way to the strip club, and I had to pump his legs, and that's where I found out about this. I need someone to, so I would lay down on my back, and then Lucas would take my ankles and, like, pump my legs, like a little bicycle run. And then at the end of it, he would pull them back, and then bring them to me, and then I would let out like a nice relieving.
But you're doing that anyway. You haven't stopped farting all morning. That was real. That wasn't any kind of manufactured noise. That's just what's been leaking out of him all day.
I just need help. I need someone to care. And Lucas, through this whole thing, has had nothing to say. Nothing to say for yourself, because you know why? And I hate to say this in front of everybody, in front of your friends, in front of our audience, but you're not a real friend, dude. You're not a real friend, because you would help me out in this moment. I am hunched over, bundled over, folded like a daggum sofa bed over here. Can't even function. Need somebody just to help me out. Give me a little motion to stop this commotion, and you won't do none of it.
There have to be lines drawn. There just have to be.
Do you want me to Google it again? Do you want me to Google it again? That asking someone to do this, while it may be a tough ask, a real friend would consider.
It has been considered, my friend. I love you. Shall we talk about the biggest game of the football season?
Well, we can. I don't know. It was so boring.
It was.
Seattle just ground them down into a pulp. Drake May was bad in this game outside of two. We would say that he had two wow throws. Like the touchdown.
That was great.
The back-to-back completions to Matt Collins were impressive throws. But beyond that, Drake May didn't do anything in this game. The Patriots offensive line didn't do anything in this game. Christian Gonzalez put on a God-tier performance at a corner, and they could do nothing offensively. It was an absolute ass-whipping. Seattle's defense, as we know, is elite. And it was the first time that I think a lot of people have talked about the Patriots' schedule, rightfully so, their path to the Super Bowl, rightfully so. They faced, Seattle's the best football team from wire to wire.
It's the most well-rounded team in the league, yes.
Offense, defense, special teams, and they did not play overwhelmingly well on offense. They were just, better to survive a great performance by the Patriots defense. Some missed opportunities. Milton Williams ended up getting to Sam Darnold at one point. They were missing a couple of sacks. They kept trying to bother him in the pocket to extend the play, but the Patriots offense just had nothing, absolutely nothing for that Seattle defense. The secondary in Seattle was awesome. And maybe it's just that there's such a talent disparity between the Seahawks defensive backs and who the Patriots have been running out there at wide receiver all year long. But this was a dominant performance from start to finish. We can talk more about Sam Darnold and the redemption arc. There's probably never been a better redemption story than any of these. But man, that was tough to watch.
This could have been much, much worse. You're right. The Seahawks secondary was fantastic, but Christian Gonzalez may have been the best player on the field, at least in the first half.
It was such a great performance by him.
So you were a Christian Gonzalez diving PBU and a Sam Darnold miss over the top to JSN away from this being basically a blowout by halftime.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, and it was kept a two-possession game until the Seahawks score to go up 19-0 early fourth quarter, and at that point, it's over, and you're wondering if we're about to watch the first shutout in Super Bowl history, which surprised me that that's never happened before in the 60 years that this game's been played.
Oh, I don't know. A shutout? That's so, how, you don't even see shutouts that often in the regular season, much less the postseason.
Yeah, fair enough, but this was not a close game. The score, 29-13, it feels like it was a much lower scoring game than 29-13 in the end. How are you doing? You doing okay?
What do you mean?
I'm surprised you didn't wear the Sad Boy Radio hat.
Why would I wear the Sad Boy Radio hat?
I knew you were going to do this. Brush it off. Well, what do you mean? I'm your precious Vrabel.
Oh yeah, I would have liked to see them win.
Doing the thing that was there some deja vu from Titans fans watching the Patriots?
Oh hell yeah.
Run into an offensive wall and with multiple weeks to prepare for
with
a
the left tackle getting punked at every turn.
6 sacks, 21 sacks in the postseason. On Drake May, the most in postseason history.
No, I absolutely was rooting for the Patriots. I would have liked to seen all those dudes win a Super Bowl. I think that would have been really, really cool that they didn't. I'm not losing sleep over that. Are you?
Sure. Sure.
No, I get why people would have that reaction, but there wasn't anything. I mean, so the unwillingness to go for the 2-point conversion as opposed to just taking the PAT, which is what the Patriots did after the first touchdown, that's probably the biggest coaching critique or head coaching critique that anybody would have of the Patriots. I know that Boston is killing Josh McDaniels and Drake May and Will Campbell, who didn't speak to the media last night, the rookie left tackle who just got his ass kicked at every turn and has been a sieve through the course of the playoffs. But beyond that, I mean, Drake May played poorly, and the offensive line in front of him played poorly, and Seattle outmatched New England.
Yeah,
Isn't that the thing that everybody thought was going to happen the whole way through?
The thing that everybody thought was going to happen, except for you, it seems.
No, I picked
did
the
end
Patriots,
up happening.
for sure.
Will Campbell allowed 14 pressures, the most in a playoff game since 2018. 29 pressures allowed in a postseason is the most ever recorded by Next Gen Stats. A rough back half of the season and postseason for Will Campbell. Some injuries in there, too, for the rookie left guard out of LSU, and they just didn't have an answer.
Skinny on YouTube says that I would be glazing Vrabel so hard and, I can't use that word, but pooping on the Titans if the Pats won. Yes, I would, but they didn't. So that's not, I would absolutely admit to doing that today, but they got their asses kicked, so there's no conversation to be had there.
Yeah, I mean,
do Titans fans feel vindicated for some reason?
Well, no, not vindicated. You know, to say they'd feel vindicated would be a little bit foolish. The Titans have gone 3-14 the last 2 years.
That's the point that I would make.
I would say vindicated against this argument that, because I do think that Vrabel discussion has just been so minimized to one thing, that the Titans are stupid for firing Vrabel, and all of their problems are because they fired Mike Vrabel, and if they didn't fire Mike Vrabel, they would be right here where the Patriots are. And I do think Titans fans are tired of that, and it's become very much, what's the phrase that we've used? Revisionist history.
Sure.
On how that all ended here.
Oh, no, Nick Suss at the Tennessean did this whole, what would have to happen for Mike Vrabel to still be coaching the Titans to a Super Bowl? Like long piece in the Tennessean.
So many things.
Right?
So many things.
And he, the conclusion that he drew in the piece that he worked on. And listen, Nick is about as thorough as anybody out there as far as research and going through the historical relevance of some of the things that do matter versus don't. He's not doing opinion the way that obviously like somebody like me does on a regular basis. But yeah,
fact-based things.
Yeah, sure. But I get why Titans fans would have fatigue about that. There's no question about that. They're also tired of losing all the time. Those two things just happen to be correlated, and you can't ignore the conversation that it was had so many times over and over and over again. I totally get why they would be tired about that, but you can't take a victory lap today. You are 3-14 in consecutive seasons. You haven't sniffed a Super Bowl in 30 years.
Yeah. No, you can. I think there is a middle ground there, right? You don't have to beat your chest because the Patriots lost a Super Bowl, a game that you haven't been to in decades. But at the same time, you can sit back and say, all right, yes, maybe we can cool it on that discussion, this idea that the Titans' trajectory would have been a certain thing. If we're being honest, we will never know the answer to this, but if Mike Vrabel had not been fired after the 2023 season, he probably would have been fired after the 2024 or 25 season because there was no clear path to them getting back to contention, right? And they wouldn't have Cam Ward at this point. It's been a rough couple of years for Titans fans, but maybe yesterday did give them a little bit of, okay, now can we stop talking about it as though, that is the one thing that has held back the Titans these last few years.
There have been, but it's never been like if you are somebody who's having that conversation.
But it's been relegated to that though during this Patriots run, I think.
It was never about that. It was always about the roster. I mean, yes, it is easy for people to look at the Patriots and be like, how stupid are the Titans for firing Mike Vrabel? It is, on aggregate, I think a bad choice to move on from a coach that is better than average, right? He is a two-time Coach of the Year. They clearly haven't done anything correctly. I mean, we'll see what happens with Saleh and Dable. Obviously, that part of the story arc has yet to be written, but it was also compounded with the fact that they were a wasteland as far as their drafts went. The whole reason why they were in this hole to begin with, the reason that they had no left tackle to work with or no viable plan at quarterback beyond Ryan Tannehill, who's running for his life back there, the way that the secondary fell off over the course of time, the decisions that were made for the roster are the reasons why the Titans have sucked so badly. You can be an elite coach. Mike Vrabel is maybe elite is too strong a term, although how many people have won Coach of the Year twice? Mike McDonald is an elite coach. I'm going to assume.
Is Kevin Stefanski? Like, we can have this discussion.
Sure. It's a fair conversation. So let me leave the tag of elite off of it. Is there any coach in America who could have saved Drake May from that Seattle defense last night? I would argue no. He was chumming the water for a bunch of sharks, and they feasted on him. Nobody was going to save Drake May from that. Seattle was always going to overmatch New England in that particular situation.
They are a better team in every way.
Yeah, and the one thing that they were relying on, that you were looking at, if you were trying to make the argument, which I very much did, for the Patriots to have a shot in this game is, okay, can you do things enough defensively to turn Sam Darnold over? Because if you play a turnover-free game, you probably win. They did not play a turnover-free game. Drake May, that shot, when he threw the interception, I think we were all three watching the game in the same place, and I think you pointed it out. When the camera panned to his face as he let the ball go, he looked terrified.
Drake May, yeah.
He looks scared bleepless.
It's like that famous GIF, the cut of the Michigan punter. You know what I'm talking about? When the ball goes through his hands and his head turns and his jaws just dropped and he has this horrified look on his face. That's what Drake May looked like during parts of this game.
Like a scared little boy out there being ravaged by DeMarcus Lawrence and all these other great Seahawks defensive players, Leonard Williams in his face mask at every turn. So no. That was a situation that ultimately you still need better players. And that's the conversation that we're getting ready to have with the Titans all offseason long, right? We're going to the Combine. It's not that far away. It's 2 weeks away where we can really spin this thing up. We're going to do Mock Draft Monday today, right? It's always, how many coaches have you heard say the line, the players are the most important people in the organization? Robert Saleh just gave a press conference citing exactly that. It is the thing. Is that the thing that holds most true in the NFL or maybe in any sport? But more so in football, right? When you have so many pieces and parts, the players are always more important. So we will have off-season discussions, obviously, throughout the course of the week. We will talk about winners and losers from the Super Bowl coming up next. I know who the Tennessee Men's Clinic is, and they've been helping guys for over a decade who are struggling with performance issues. Erectile dysfunction can wreck your confidence, and it can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. But there's good news. There's real help. Since 2014, the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of guys get back to feeling like themselves. Not cookie-cutter treatments. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health issues. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation. No one size fits all. Too many guys rely on pills that don't work or come with nasty side effects. There are better treatments. Sometimes it's a combination of those treatments that finally unlock the results that you've been missing. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose right there in the office. So call now at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book easily online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
The Seahawks are Super Bowl champs for the second time in franchise history. We'll get to the halftime show discourse a little bit later on in the hour. Welcome back. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, which fueled our watch party yesterday.
Sure did.
Very much enjoyed some Hattie B's jumbo wings and pimento mac and cheese.
Got a tweet from Landon and Ashley about they had Super Bowl Hattie B's as well. So we hope if you enjoyed the Super Bowl that you also enjoyed the best Nashville hot chicken that this city has to offer, that this country has to offer, that this world has to offer. HattieB.com.
Sending all the good vibes to Landon today and this week. So the Seahawks are the winners. The Patriots are the losers. But as we speak individually, as we do on Sports Talk individually, as we do on Sports Talk Radio about the biggest winners and losers from any given sporting event, do we have to put Sam Darnold kind of over here and say, all right, we'll get to you a little bit later and talk about possibly the best redemption story we've seen in the modern era. Apart from Sam Darnold, who is the obvious answer, who is the biggest individual winner and beneficiary of this Seahawks victory?
That would be Kenneth Walker III and his agent and his bank account, because that dude is not just the Super Bowl MVP. I believe Carrot Top back there had the stat that he is not, or the fact that he is not. We have not had a running back win Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis.
Yeah. Super Bowl 32.
1998, 161 yards from scrimmage. So many plays. The thing that he's done all year long, right? If you've watched much of the Seahawks, and obviously the country has caught up on Seahawks football if you weren't paying attention to them in the regular season. Did somebody at the watch party last night mention Le'Veon Bell? I thought I heard somebody bring up Le'Veon Bell.
Just in what context?
In terms of, it was Lucas.
In what context?
That he's eligible for the Hall of Fame in the next cycle.
No, I don't think that's what we brought up. It was the idea of the patience that Kenneth Walker shows when he's making moves that he should be dead to rights behind the line of scrimmage are Lev Bell-esque.
That would be a smart comment, so yes, I'll claim it.
I can't remember. I thought somebody made that comment.
No, it was me.
Okay, very good.
It was me.
You're too busy singing along with the Bad Bunny song. So you didn't actually understand any of the things that you were singing, but you did have the lyrics mostly down.
I have a hard time understanding a lot of Bad Bunny stuff because he speaks with a lot of Puerto Rican slang, right, in his accent. So I can understand a lot of Spanish, but I do have a hard time with Bad Bunny, but it doesn't mean I can't enjoy it.
Oh, for sure. It was thoroughly enjoyable. We'll talk more about somebody says the broadcast also mentioned Bell. I don't really, either way, heard it brought up. Yeah. Made a lot of sense. He's an incredibly patient running back in the way that he just kind of lets things develop in front of him rather than moving frenetically, the way that anybody else, Robert was making comments about, he should have just taken it to the house on that one play where he's dipping and diving and dodging and ducking Patriots defenders. But he is also a free agent. So now he gets to add Super Bowl MVP to his accolades, and that will bring the price point up on Kenneth Walker, whether it's to stay in Seattle. I saw some Titans fans on the internet, and again, the internet is not, for reasonable discourse, but I saw some people actively wanting Le'Veon Bell Kenneth Walker III in free agency, the Titans. I don't think that's a need here. I think that you would probably, again, need versus best players and all these different things. I just think there's so many better ways for them to spend money.
He's going to make money.
He's going to make money for sure. But, does he need to speak it, or does he need to make it here would be my question.
27 carries for 135 yards. Walker had 2 catches for 26 yards, a long of 20. His market value currently on Spot Track, a calculated prediction of his average annual salary. What do you think it currently is on Spot Track?
11.5.
9.
Wow,
and I imagine it's not been updated after last night. I'm guessing that's what it was going into last night.
I don't even think it should be that low. Running backs are making money. It again depends on where you go and where your team is in their roster construction cycle, right? Because Ashton Genty may not make sense to the Raiders in the draft because of where they are as an offensive line, but he could make sense on a lot of other teams as a first-round draft pick, right? It just didn't work for the Raiders.
I mean, James Cook, who was the rushing champ in the NFL this year, makes an average annual salary of $11.5 million per year. I think Kenneth Walker's going to exceed that with this next deal.
Yeah. I would feel pretty comfortable about 13 AAV, depending on where he goes and who has that money.
Yeah, 1,000-yard rusher this year, had to carry the load when Charbonnet went down in what's been probably the most underrated 1-2 punch at running back in the NFL this year. I feel like Charbonnet Walker do not get the love that Montgomery Gibbs do in Detroit, but he's had a great season.
Can you guys tell me how many running backs have over a $13 million cap hit?
In the league this year?
Just by AAV.
2?
1.
3?
There are 4.
4.
Saquon Barkley has 20. Christian McCaffrey at 19. Derrick Henry at 15, which is a little bit of cap gymnastics because there are voids involved.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor.
Bijan Robinson will join that club.
I would not have had Derrick up there, but I forgot about the extension that they gave him after the end of his first season there.
The running back who had made the most cash, if you're looking for any kind of indictment on the running back market, the running back who had made the most cash in 2025 was Ashton Genty.
That's crazy.
It's because of the signing bonus where he was drafted, the slot. No one else even came close. He made 23 in cash. Saquon Barkley made 16.5. Christian McCaffrey was 16.2.
Oh. Robert, do you have an individual winner from this Super Bowl?
An individual winner, I would go with no, not an individual winner. I would go with a group winner would be defensive coaches as a whole. Because now if everyone's chasing trends going into which wouldn't be this coaching cycle, would be the next one. But if everyone's trying to mimic what Mike McDonald's done, or if we got to find some guy who can make us a pressure getting with forward type defense, then I would say those type coaches. But I think there are a number of winners out there. Rashid Shaheed going into free agency, I think that dude's going to make a lot of money. Especially with the news of George Pickens getting franchise tagged over the weekend.
That's right.
Yes. He has not officially been tagged, but the plan is for the Cowboys to tag him, which I think most reasonable people expected, especially when Jerry comes out at Super Bowl week and says, I want him to be a Cowboy for a long time. Like, I don't think Jerry Jones just says that stuff.
Give me Cooper Kupp, who went back home to Washington, who is in the latter stages of his career, 6 catches for 61 yards. He led the Seahawks in receiving. He is now a 2-time Super Bowl champ with a second team that he has done it with in Seattle, joining his resume with the L.A. Rams. I feel like that was viewed, a lot of the Seahawks moves in the offseason, I don't think were met with, okay, here we go. Seattle is gunning for this Super Bowl run. I think it was kind of, okay, Sam Darnold, maybe downgrading an offensive line. You don't have DK Metcalf. You don't have Justin Jefferson anymore. All right, Cooper Kupp.
How many people looked at Darnold as a downgrade from Geno?
I think, like I said, I don't think the Seahawks offseason as a whole, pre-draft, was met with a lot of optimism. I think it was like, okay, I guess we'll see if this works. And boy, has it worked.
Man, John Schneider has done a hell of a job, though. You bring up pre-draft, like the draft. His draft picks have been awesome. John Schneider, we were talking about this before the show started. John Schneider's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame.
How many general managers have put together multiple Super Bowl champion teams and done it by crafting different eras within the same team, right?
Crafting different eras within the same team.
Like the Patriots have all those Super Bowls with Brady. John Schneider built up the Seahawks. He built that era of Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
That era ended. The Seahawks move on from Pete Carroll. They bring in Mike McDonald. They're mediocre for a bit. And then he builds up this new era of Sam Darnold's redemption arc and that defense for Mike McDonald, and they're Super Bowl champs again. How many general managers can you think of that have done anything similar to that? There's plenty that have won multiple titles, but largely in a similar window, right? Or at least with the same franchise quarterback.
I couldn't think of one off the top of my head. And the Brady thing is such an anomaly, right? Because how long did Brady go between the first 3 Super Bowls and the second 3 Super Bowls? It was like a decade.
Yeah, like a decade.
Right? So it almost doesn't count, even though the most important thing is the constant in that equation. No, John Schneider, the Seahawks organization deserves so much credit, top to bottom, from players to coaches to front office personnel. It was an awesome and resounding victory. Yeah. Like, again, they may have been the best team in the regular season and also the best team in the NFL wire to wire.
Ozzie Newsome is submitted in the F&M Bank chat. Robert, he was the GM, right, during that Trent Dilfer Super Bowl? Or did he take over right after that?
Yeah, he's been there through the whole shebang. Yeah. His first draft pick.
That's crazy.
One of his 2 was Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis. So the Ravens' first ever draft picks he was there for.
And Ozzie Newsome is held in as high regard as any front office executive to ever do it.
Yeah.
So, rare company.
Don't disagree with you. John Schneider may be working his way into the Hall of Fame.
Do we want to do losers later? Because we don't have a ton of time. I mean, we have some time, but we've spent a lot of time here.
Yeah. Or we could hear from Dan in Lewisburg. 615-737-1045. Dan, you're up first.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Fantastic.
Good deal. Yeah, the Super Bowl last night, it was just a matter of just like an old-fashioned foot-whooping contest. I mean, it's like putting a bunch of high school boys against a bunch of elementary school kids. And I think the Patriots are going to need to address that left side of their offensive line, because those boys was letting Drake May just take malicious hits. I mean, say many hits. I mean, he was being sacked, and, it's like they got to do something about it. And one odd thing I've seen after the game was over, they list the Super Bowl favorites for next year. And, of course, Seattle, goes without being said, probably would be the favorite. But then they had the Rams second and the Bills third, and I thought that was odd, just finishing up a Super Bowl, that the odds makers didn't have any confidence in maybe New England getting back there and showing the dominance of the NFC over the AFC, while having the 2 favorites basically being from the same division, and I'll jump off and listen to y'all.
Thank you for the call, Dan. We can talk about the Patriots because I think a lot of people, when you, especially like the Joe Burrow Bengals, right? When you give a comment like, what's your window? Well, the window is my career if you're Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow has been nowhere close to the Super Bowl where he lost to the Rams since that Super Bowl win, and I guess it was technically the year 2022, but the 2021 postseason. How hard it is to get back. The idea that if you picked, do you think that the Patriots, and we can have this conversation later, but like the Patriots who probably shouldn't have been there in the first place, right? What was their over-under, their win total this year? 7? Maybe?
Maybe.
And even that felt high, right? Because the roster, I mean, we talked about this, the roster is not that much better than a lot of these bottom-feeder AFC teams, and they chicken salad a lot of things this year, and all of the weaknesses that they had all season long were just exploited by the best team in football last night. That's what happened.
They went undefeated on the road, right?
Yes.
Incredible stat. But of those road wins, how many of them, still impressive no matter who you're playing, but of those road wins, how many of them did they win in games that they were kind of outmatched?
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo. And it's hard for me to find another one. Baltimore too. Buffalo and Baltimore.
And even Baltimore was just kind of in a weird spot, right? So, because, Robert, was that the game where people were hypercritical of the Derrick Henry usage? The Ravens-Patriots game, coming out of that game? I feel like it was right around there later in the season.
I feel like that's the game Derrick went crazy, and he didn't touch the ball in the second half or something like that.
That's what I'm saying, like the Derrick Henry usage.
I would need to look at the play call or the play run for the game to
right.
know that.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but either way, there is some logic to the idea, like, would you pick the Patriots to make it back to the Super Bowl in the next 5 years? I think a lot of people, including myself, would probably say no. Like,
I'd probably say no.
You got one. That's why it's so, like, Super Bowl window is such a funny conversation because how many teams save Mahomes, like, actually do the thing, or Brady? You're talking about 2 individuals out of how many Super Bowls have we had? 60 of them that actually do the thing that everybody talks about being able to do, right? The Super Bowl window.
I'd say the Rams very much have been in that with one dip after they won the thing. But
they haven't been back. They haven't been in the game.
Sure, but they're still very much in a window. They're a play or two away from making the Super Bowl each of the last 2 years, quite honestly. How about the run the NFC West is on?
Yeah, that's awesome.
In these last 6-7 years. No? Okay. The Rams win. The Niners have been to it twice, and now the Seahawks win.
You have the maturity of a 9-year-old.
Robert's mad at me. He wouldn't do the thing.
He wasn't looking at you. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. All right, we'll do Super Bowl losers a little later because we all got stuck on our one, but I thought it was a good discussion, so we can swing back around later in the show. Coming up next, we will talk about the Super Bowl halftime show, the actual one, not the one that was pre-recorded and ran on YouTube yesterday. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken and lip syncing. Apparently, those are the accusations being hurled at Kid Rock.
This song is a banger, though.
No,
I cannot be convinced otherwise.
Indisputably, no. I think Kid Rock's got a couple.
He does. He does.
No, I'm not down on the best of Kid Rock. It's just, everything else Kid Rock is whatever. So that was not the halftime show. Oh, somebody did have it on their phone, right? Your buddy Jack did have the alternative halftime show on his phone, I think, while everybody else at the Super Bowl watch party was watching the Bad Bunny performance.
I think he was watching ironically.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it was a form of protest like you saw this one woman at the Super Bowl who like made a big thing of grandstanding, like she turned her back to the Bad Bunny performance or something like that. Turned her back on what was the theme that he had strewn across the Jumbotron at the end of it? The only thing more powerful than hate is love. Yes, that is the thing that was being protested yesterday by a select few, it seems. But on the whole, understanding, we had a group text going with Ramon and Slay at the same time, and Slay was the first one I think to bring up. Yeah, I'll raise my hand. I don't know what's going on here. And I think that's fair. Like, unless you are comfortable in your Spanish-speaking abilities, and even then, don't you speak Spanish?
Very limited. I was better at it when I minored in it in college, but I have failed at practicing it consistently since 2018.
So, again, unless you were very familiar with the Puerto Rican type of Spanish that Bad Bunny was singing last night, you probably didn't know what was happening in the halftime show, other than the music's good, and it makes you move your shoulders a little bit. Although the room that we were sitting in, everybody just kind of sat in silence and, like, watched.
It's tough watching those shows on TV, because you can get into it, but you can only get into it so much, in my mind, watching a concert on TV. But I do not care about the politics of it. I just enjoy Bad Bunny's music.
Yeah.
The NFL invited Bad Bunny to do the halftime show, and he threw the NFL a party, in my mind. And all he talked about was believing in yourself and unity. So
There was a wedding.
Enjoyed it.
He gave the how old is the kid that got arrested?
I don't know, 5.
Like 5, the 5-year-old that got arrested. He gave him his Grammy. Like, I don't know how anybody could come away, if you actually watch that thing, with bad vibes about Bad Bunny.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very obvious what the NFL was doing here is they try to expand internationally, 9 international games happening, so they got the most globally streamed artist to do the halftime show. It's not more complicated than that. I do hate that the discussion in and of itself feels like just because we're talking about the Super Bowl halftime show, it has to be like a one side or the other thing. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't used to be like that. It used to be you can just talk about the Super Bowl halftime show because it's what everybody watched. So that part of it is slightly annoying, but I just like his music.
No, for sure. I mean, I couldn't name a song. I like the kind of music that he does. Like Titi Me Pregunto is the only one that I would be able to name. And that was the one he opened with, right?
With it, yeah.
And I'm sure I just mangled that horribly. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what the names of the songs are. I don't care that I can't name the songs. Like, it's a vibe. The whole thing was a vibe. I enjoyed it. I thought the choreography was good. I thought that the music was fun. It was cool to see Lady Gaga and Ricky Martin out there. It was cool to see Pedro Pascal and Jessica Alba, who, by the way, how old is Jessica Alba? Somebody give me an age on Jessica Alba, because that all-timer, still out here crushing it at whatever age she is. She's got to be close to 50.
Ricky Martin. I mean, speaking of people who haven't aged,
and Tom Pelissero is reporting that 2 Indianapolis Colts defensive backs.
I know you said he's there, but
gambling.
if we're talking about people that look the same over the last 25 years,
Ricky Martin is not aged. Although I'm sure there's some cosmetic work being done there on Ricky Martin.
Sure.
With all due respect to Ricky Martin, he's aging very well. So, on the whole, I think it was actually not as, I mean, Twitter broke for a minute, right? Well, people just had to get their thoughts out about Buddy, and I'm sure Bad Bunny, and I'm sure there was some kind of dialogue going on. What's the alternative Twitter?
I don't know.
Blue Skies.
No, not the
Threads.
No, that's all. How many alternative Twitters are there? No, the one that Trump always tweets on. Either way, I'm sure there's something out there as well. But I thought it was good, and I didn't see as much like backlash on the Bad Bunny performance as I was honestly expecting to be. I think people were just like, oh, that's what it is. That's fun.
I think a lot of people were prepared to hate watch it right? And it doesn't mean you have to, like, this idea that
Truth
you have
Social.
to
Thank you, Larry, on YouTube. Truth Social.
I just hate this idea that you have to enjoy the music. You don't. You don't have to like it at all. Like, it's totally okay to say, yeah, that's not for me. But I do think a lot of people were prepared to hate watch it because they thought he was going to make a bunch of political statements when he didn't. He just threw a party.
No, just shaking ass. Are you against shaking ass? Because then you didn't like the halftime show. If you are pro shaking ass, you're good with it.
I think it's a little more than just that. But.
Not for most of America. For most of America, it's just a lot of hip movement. The other thing that Fitzy brought up when we were doing the Fox show on Saturday is the idea, like, because Fitz has a more impassioned position on this as somebody who's a Grammy voter, somebody who's played. Actually, I don't know if Fitzy has played in a Super Bowl halftime. I know he's played a lot of big shows. I don't think he's been a part of a Super Bowl halftime. Anyway, the idea that, to your point about the NFL, the concert was better than the game. The NFL
certainly by halftime, the game was not very.
The NFL basically just had a Bad Bunny concert with a football game around it, not the other way around, right? That's how the vast majority of the world is viewing what took place yesterday. That's what the NFL is trying to get. They already have America as far as the football watching populace is concerned. They want everybody else to tune into their football game so they can juice the numbers with an international performing act like Bad Bunny. It's the same thing as people who are upset about college football changing as much as it did. They're not worried about you because they already have you if you're a college football fan. This is to expand the horizons and the viewing audience and the dollars that they can earn in the NFL by partnering essentially with Bad Bunny.
At this point, like, he's just everywhere. Like, he's huge on the wrestling scene. Robert has nothing but amazing things to say about Bad Bunny and his wrestling cameos, or at this point is he like a legitimate part of WWE?
I mean, not a legitimate part. He was a sideshow when they did a show in Puerto Rico, but I mean, he was the main event. If you haven't seen that match, probably one of the better celebrity wrestling matches. Like, they didn't have to plan around his unathleticism or his inability to move in the ring. Like, he gave himself. He took like 3 months to train how to do this. But yeah, he will be in the Hall of Fame for celebrity wrestlers whenever it's time to induct him.
Happy Gilmore too. Adam Sandler utilized him heavily in what was a star-studded movie. So if you can't see what the NFL was doing with this, then like, just can't help you. But I'll be curious to see where the Super Bowl halftime pivots from there. Will the quest to get Taylor Swift just continue?
Oh yeah, that's Moby Dick, right? That's the white whale.
I think that is the NFL's white whale.
I mean, that is she more streamed than Bad Bunny?
I think last year he was.
Okay.
But I think in the history or the modern era of Spotify, she's one and he's two, if I'm not mistaken.
So Travis Kelce would technically be Ishmael then.
Yes. In that case.
Spearing the whale.
Yes.
Oh.
That's only for people who read the book.
What did you think he was doing?
I feel like
they call me Ishmael. Did you not have to read Moby Dick in school?
There was a clear window there where the Chiefs were looking for the three-peat, where a Taylor Swift halftime would have just like set the world on fire for the NFL. They may have missed that window.
All right. We can talk about, let's do a little, we'll get back into Super Bowl stuff a little later on because obviously that's the thing that just most recently happened. But there were terrible choke jobs in local college basketball, both over the weekend that we will talk about coming up next.
Ooh, K-pop? Yep. They're going K-pop, dude. They're going to try to get BTS. That's 100%. It is 10:59. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs 104.5 The Zone studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl 60 champions after beating the Patriots 29-13 in Santa Clara. Seattle led 19-0 before the Patriots scored for the first time early in the fourth. Drake May was sacked 6 times, 21 times in the postseason, which is an NFL record. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold, 19 of 38, 202 yards and a touchdown. Running back Kenneth Walker took home Super Bowl MVP with 161 yards from scrimmage. Walker, the first running back to win the award since Terrell Davis in Super Bowl 32. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTM.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
We interrupt your Super Bowl recap coverage that we will get back to here in just a minute to talk a little bit of basketball, because what happened Saturday night at Rupp Arena is one of the worst losses I've seen this college basketball season, not just because of the stakes, not just because they're conference opponents, but because Tennessee blew a lead as badly as they did, allowing Kentucky, who trailed by as many as, 14 points going into halftime?
It was 14 and a half, yep.
Before putting together a very impressive comeback. And I hate to say nice things about Kentucky basketball, but it was impressive for them to come back in those final 20 minutes. How are Tennessee fans feeling after losing twice to that Kentucky team? This is not a good Kentucky team.
Yeah, but just brutal. I mean, Rick Barnes was asked about that after the game, kind of comparing the two, blowing a 17-point first-half lead against Kentucky at home, and then a 14-point first-half lead. Yeah, about three and a half weeks ago. And he said, honestly, I could stomach this one more than I could the first one. He said, we just didn't compete in the second half of the first game. He felt like they did compete in the second half of this game, but still, man, there's no way to sugarcoat being outscored 41-24. Kentucky just dominating Tennessee in the paint, scoring in the paint, which is weird because Tennessee out-rebounded Kentucky 46-31 in this game. Tennessee was better on the offensive boards, 19-8, but just can't make layups. Second chance points, just almost non-existent for Tennessee in this game. The shots that were falling in the first half, where they were 8 of 13, I think, from three, were not falling in the second half. And Tennessee just sputtered on their way to a 3-point loss. And just to add insult to injury, Jacoby Gillespie's buzzer-beater game-tying attempt at the end from half court goes backboard, front iron, and out, and you lose in heartbreaking fashion. And Tennessee was on this run of 4 straight wins, where you look at the only 2 losses here in the last 6-7 games are to Kentucky with blown leads. And if you find a way to hang on in both of those games, you're one of the hottest teams in the country right now. You're in the top 10. Instead, Tennessee did fall back out of the top 25 in the AP poll, and now gets a chance to bounce back with a favorable schedule over the next 3 games. But, oh, man, Nate Ament was awesome. Just took over at times, 29 points, 4 of 6 from 3, 8 rebounds. But it wasn't enough, man, and Kentucky just outmuscled Tennessee down the stretch.
And what happened to Vanderbilt at home may be worse. That's their first quadrant 3 loss of the season. They lose 92-91 against Oklahoma. They try to rally back, but it's not enough. Commodores now 18-4 on the whole. They are 6-4 in the conference. They just got off to a bad start, and they never really recovered in a meaningful way. Oklahoma's a 500 basketball program. Are they the worst basketball program in the SEC right now?
They're last place. They were on a 9-game losing skid going into this game. They've really struggled. Tyler Tanner, though, went Superman mode in this game trying to lead a comeback. He had 37 points. He was fantastic. 9 assists. But, yeah, man, it wasn't enough. Also down 14 at the half, and their comeback bid falls short. Worst loss of the season for sure.
For without
Vanderbilt.
Question. Oklahoma, uncharacteristically good as far as their shooting from the floor. They were 53%. They hit 43% of their threes. It's like Buddy Hield or Trae Young were out there or something like that, except very much not. So I don't know whose loss was worse, over the weekend, I want to say it's Tennessee's because, yes, that is Vanderbilt's worst loss of the season, but you probably feel better about the Vanderbilt men's team right now than you do about the Tennessee team.
For sure. And it seems crazy to say that a loss against Kentucky in Rupp Arena, it feels worse than a home loss to the last place team in the SEC, but it kind of does the way that it all panned out.
When you had control of the game the way that you did, when you already have dropped this game at home in January, that was as bad a loss as they have had on the season, that Kentucky game that they dropped at home. And then to compound it with another loss to Kentucky at Rupp, it amps up the ick that you feel after you lose that game, I'd imagine, if you're a Tennessee fan.
Vanderbilt fans, I'm sure, would disagree, but yeah, Vanderbilt.
Tennessee had the worst loss?
Yeah, if I'm a Vandy fan, I'm saying, hell no. Our loss to last place team in the SEC at home is far worse than losing at Rupp Arena. But Vandy does have some flaws that have been exposed at times in this SEC slate. Occasionally, they struggle to be the more physical team. I think you saw that in their little 3-game losing skid they had a couple weeks ago. But tougher loss to swallow. Like, it's the SEC. You're going to slip up. Occasionally, you're going to lose to teams you feel like you shouldn't. But, yeah, Tennessee to Kentucky felt like the tougher loss to swallow. And Rick Barnes admitting at the end of the game that he made a mistake in not keeping Dwayne Brown in the game towards the end. 12 rebounds, was the best player on the glass in this game, and he's not in the lineup during a crucial free throw miss where Amari Evans is just straight up out-muscled on an offensive board, and Kentucky gets it back. And what was a huge play in the game, and Rick Barnes said, hand up after the game, that's on me, should have had Brown in the lineup. But just so many things going wrong for Tennessee in this second half. Brutal, brutal, brutal loss.
Man, this is a critical last month of the season for last month of the regular season, shall we say, because we are down to the wire now in college basketball. It always feels this way a little bit, unless you're, we're obviously watching college basketball during football season too, but it always feels like at the end of the Super Bowl, you just kind of pick your head up and be like, oh, we got like a month until the tournament starts. Well, let's get it going here. At Mississippi State is the next game for Tennessee. Where do we think? We don't have the new top 25 yet, do we?
I don't believe so, but Tennessee will fall out.
Yeah, I would think. And then Vanderbilt next plays at Auburn, which is not a pushover at this point. Certainly a huge opportunity for Vanderbilt to continue to try and fortify their resume as we get closer and closer to seeding.
Rivalry weekend was awesome across college basketball. Alabama goes to Auburn and wins amidst all the Charles Bediako controversy. He had his hearing Friday. The judge has not made a ruling, so Bediako was eligible, and Bama wins that game. And then UNC rallying.
So good.
Electric game in the second half, and the buzzer beater to win 71-68 to knock off Duke, only the second loss of the year for Duke, first in conference play. Yeah, rivalry Saturday delivered in college hoops.
Tyler Reese across the hall was hate texting me because Indiana outlasted Wisconsin, his Wisconsin Badgers, in overtime.
Did they? So is Indiana kind of,
I don't know,
on the up?
I just hope they beat Northwestern when we go, because if I have to sit through a basketball game with the three of you to watch them lose, I'm going to be very unhappy next week at the Combine, 2 weeks from now at the Combine.
That could be funny.
It would be some kind of karmic thing, I'm sure. But, yeah, losing at home to Northwestern would not make me happy.
It feels like this puts Tennessee out of contention to win the SEC regular season title.
I would think so.
It was just such a good opportunity to avenge that loss to Kentucky and have that for the committee come Selection Sunday. And then you have this stretch of Mississippi State, LSU, and Oklahoma, as we saw from Vanderbilt this weekend. Nothing's guaranteed, but those are three of the bottom four teams in the SEC standings before you head to Memorial Gym to play Vanderbilt in about 2 weeks, February 21st. Those two Tennessee Vandy games are going to be huge for both teams in shaping their NCAA tournament resume and SEC tournament seeding as well. But things will get significantly tougher for Tennessee after this 3-game stretch coming up, where they have State, LSU, and Oklahoma. From there, you get Vandy twice and Alabama once within your last 5 games.
Have you looked at bracketology lately from Joe Lunardi?
Last I checked, and this was, I think, pre-Saturday, he had Tennessee at around a 6 seed.
He now has them as a 5 seed,
okay,
interestingly enough. in the East bracket with a first-round matchup against a 12-seed Tulsa team. He also has them in the same side of the bracket as Michigan State, who needs to kind of, pick themselves up as we're getting closer and closer to this. They've experienced a few losses here in the last couple of weeks that are sure. I'm always scared Tom Izzo is going to stroke out on the bench. Nobody should turn that shade of red purple while you're going through just the act of coaching. He makes me very nervous. Anyway, Gator Mike, 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. He's next.
Buck, how you doing?
Great.
There's plenty of room on the Gator bandwagon for basketball if you like. I know you like your basketball teams.
I just want my basketball team to be good, Mike. I'm very jealous of yours.
I know. And so Lucas, he helped me last week where Todd Golden talked his crap, backed it up, beating Alabama, and then we go on the road this past weekend and smack Texas A&M around. I mean, when the new poll comes out, we should at least be sniffing the top 10. You watch us play. We still have our faults with the guards, but you watch our bigs play and everything like that. I seriously don't think there's 10 teams better than us right now.
Yeah, for sure.
We're hot at the right time, no doubt.
Thank you for the
Florida
call.
Dominant around the rim. They now have sole possession of number 1 in the SEC standings. And Texas A&M just continued to just get away with win after win after win. And finally, they do get smacked around by Florida over the weekend. Florida, a legitimate national title contender, no doubt.
Coming up next, we will swing back around. We did the winners from Super Bowl 60. We'll do the losers and also talk about Sam Darnold's redemption arc. We said we'd put Sam Darnold off to the side. We'll talk about both of those stories coming up next. Nothing worse than a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency. The timing is always poor when these things come about, and you want to make sure that you're protected. You want to make sure that somebody's just not trying to upsell you on something or that the problem even gets fixed correctly. That's why you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Their techs are professional and experienced. It's why Hiller has been in business as a family-owned and operated company for over 35 years because they do business the right way. No extra charges or upcharges on your bill. The price you see is the price that you will pay when you call Hiller. Their techs are vetted, as I mentioned, and you will even get a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time so you don't waste time waiting around. It's all part of the Happy You'll Be or the service is free, the Happy Hiller promise that they give to each and every one of their customers. So visit them online and book your appointment today at happyhiller.com.
So Sam Darnold's redemption story is a huge headline from Super Bowl 60, and we will get to Sam Darnold, but as usual, we will look at the negative, the biggest loser from Super Bowl 60.
You're so dramatic.
As the Seahawks beat the New England Patriots in Santa Clara. There is room to talk about Sam Darnold and this incredible comeback story that is among the best, if not the best, that we've seen in the modern era of the NFL. But who is the biggest individual loser of Super Bowl 60 before we talk about the good, cushy stuff?
It's got to be Will Campbell, the Patriots rookie left tackle who allowed as many pressures in a Super Bowl as any offensive lineman has ever allowed, or something like that. It's a ridiculous stat. He was terrible last night. He had a hard time all throughout the course of the playoffs. And listen, like, Seattle does that to a lot of teams, right? A lot of teams. But Will Campbell has been a bit of a liability the whole way through against good defenses, like the Houston Texans and the Denver Broncos, and who'd they play in the first round? The Chargers. He was nightmarish last night.
14 pressures.
Nightmarish last night. Him and the rookie guard next to him. I don't know the rookie guard's name for the Patriots who was starting last night, but that left side of the offensive line was just ghastly. The Patriots could get absolutely nothing done on offense, and then Drake May, the definition of seeing ghosts. It felt like the roles reversed between him and Sam Darnold. But I would say Will Campbell, if you made me pick any one individual biggest loser from that game, he's probably carrying a lot of the blame. And also the fact this is a little thing, and it's just because this is part of what I do for a living, but you got to talk to the media after that. It's the biggest game of your life. All right, you're probably never going to play. I shouldn't say that. You are likely never to play in a Super Bowl again. If you have a performance like that, you got to get up there and own it, dude. I get that he's young and that people probably, say, well, media people are jerks, and especially the Boston media and all these different things. You're just going to bully him and all this. Now, if you sucked and you directly led to your team losing that game, you got to sit there and answer a few questions. You don't have to say that much. You can be miserable about it. Understanding it's an emotional moment, people aren't out to get you, but you have to answer questions. The fact that he essentially no commented, it sounds like Boston media, like it's just going to get worse the next time they see you. Why are you running away? That was a bad look by him.
I think it's something that's probably just going to piss off other media members. Like, I think the majority of fans look at that.
Patriots fans want to hear from him after that?
What good does that do? I don't know. Like, I agree. I agree. That is part of the gig in my mind. But I think the majority of fans will look at that and say, no, bleep you. I'd be out of there too. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe Patriots fans do. My question is, who do Patriots fans want to fire today?
McDaniel.
Is that it? They're out on Josh McDaniels.
I'm sorry, McDaniels. I just seeing... I saw an uncommon amount of Boston sports radio, like live streams on my timeline this morning, and it seems that a lot of people are on Josh McDaniels for his early approach to the offensive game plan.
So who is the inevitable replacement for Josh McDaniels? What former Titan staffer is the inevitable replacement for McDaniels as offensive coordinator?
Right there down the bench. Todd Downing, let's ride, baby.
McDaniels, the AP Assistant Coach of the Year.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure is who Pats fans want out after last night.
Listen, man, both the coaches of the year, the Assistant Coach of the Year and the Head Coach of the Year, got their asses kicked last night. Mike McDonald does not care what your awards are. He schooled Josh McDaniels.
Is there something to be said about the Patriots' game plan last night? Or at the end of the day, were the Patriots just exposed on weaknesses that they have comparatively comparing to the Seahawks that just weren't able to be exposed because while they played some elite defenses in the playoffs, and they played probably 3 of the 4 best defenses in the NFL during this playoff run, they did not really play a big threat on the other side of the ball, which is what was the stat that you gave out of the fewest points scored?
54 total points is the fewest points scored en route to getting to a Super Bowl.
Right. There was never a huge, like Justin Herbert couldn't do anything in that playoff game. CJ Stroud looked like he couldn't even take a snap in that second game. And then you play Jarrett Stidham in the snow. So there was nothing on the other side of the ball that even really posed a major threat. If you take 1 or 2 of C.J. Stroud's turnovers, the Texans are in a position to win that game in the divisional round. So that all kind of came back around. But I guess my question is, what's the biggest criticism of Josh McDaniels? Is it specific play calls? There was a 3rd and 5 in particular.
They ran it.
Pats were down multiple scores. They're
That
near
felt
midfield.
very familiar.
Yeah, and the whole room, 3rd and 5, run up the middle, stuffed for no. Yeah, there it is. There's a Vrabel 3rd and 5 play call.
A little PTSD for the Titans fans out there. I told you. Leo DiCaprio meme.
I wouldn't call Titans fans vindicated. It's hard to be vindicated when you've won 6 games in 2 years.
If you are somebody who holds that position, you are a loser. Like you were 3-14 last year. That is Lucas. That is such a loser behavior.
But you also don't really get to speak on this because you're not a fan.
Fair.
And you don't have that perspective that fans have.
Fair.
It's okay to have those little moments of vindication. When you see something that had you tearing your hair out 3 years ago, and the entire NFL has told you that you're idiots for letting go of that. It's okay to have those little moments of like, yeah, that's the stuff that we were also complaining about
both
a
things
few
can
years
be
ago.
true. I think there's been a lot of idiot behavior here the last couple of years.
Yes.
You have a loser, Robert?
Sorry, I just took my headphones off.
That's okay. We are doing winners and losers, or we did winners earlier. We're doing losers now. My biggest loser from that game yesterday was Will Campbell.
My biggest loser would be Mike Vrabel. Big old loser. Yeah, Mike, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's our fault for believing that he would do anything but choke and lose on the biggest stage, not putting his players in the best situation to win, calling a draw on 3rd and 4 when you've been unable to run at any time. 3rd and 5. Yeah, we love that draw, Mike Vrabel. You keep doing that. You go, Glenn Coco. You go, Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is my biggest loser because he also gets to hide behind,
Oh, Josh McDaniel didn't call a good game. Oh, my second-year quarterback didn't really do a good job. Oh, the left tackle I took 4th overall he wasn't up to snuff.
Shut up. It's all Vrabel's fault. Good enough to get you there, but not good enough to get you across the finish line. I'm tripping as Mike McDonald valiantly, that rope just breaking across his brazen chest as he brings another Super Bowl to the West Coast. Come on. It's got to be Mike Vrabel.
Nobody's feeling better than Mike McDonald today, right? Like, he was awesome.
Well, yeah, he finally gets to meet his son.
What do you mean?
He
What?
Have you not seen this?
No.
He's like, oh, yeah, I would. He basically didn't get to spend time with his kid. He would get to come home, spend like 1 hour with his son, and then go back to prepping, like getting ready during the NFL season.
Can we stop making ignoring your children as a football coach like hero worship?
Yeah, it's just
very bizarre.
You know what? It looks like it's what it takes to win a Super Bowl. He after the game, he was like, yeah, I just wish this season wouldn't end. He's like, I don't want to go be a dad. I don't want to go have to change diapers. Just please let me scheme up another blitz. Come on, I need it.
They hand him his son the celebration, and you hear him off mic. What's his name?
Yeah, they hand him his son. He throws it for the trophy.
No,
Come
only
here,
Joe.
baby.
Only Joe Brady would have asked what the name of his child
the
is.
name
No, what's this baby's name? Mwah. Right on the lips.
No, not Tom Brady. Joe Brady.
Oh, Joe Brady. What's this baby's name? Mwah. Right on the cheek.
Zach Lyons was cheering vicariously as Robert was trashing Vrabel there.
Was he?
Yes.
Where is Zach?
He's just hiding me. Look there. He's in the corner.
Oh. He said,
He's back here.
Okay. Hi, buddy.
So, yeah, like I think it's okay to have that tiny little moment of, yeah, like that's the stuff we were talking about as you all were telling us that we'd be winning the Super Bowl if Vrabel was still our coach. That's all it is. Sam Darnold, unquestionably the biggest individual
Oh, you
winner.
don't have a loser?
Oh, did I not give one?
Mm-mm.
Will Campbell, Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels. That's who I think is going to be the scapegoat.
And so nothing for Drake May. He was bad.
He was bad, but
How long did it take for the shoulder stuff to come out afterwards? Because they said
he was shooting it up.
He had a pain-killing injection in his shoulder. I think it was like 20 minutes after the game.
But what quarterback in the NFL is going to be the best version of himself facing what he was facing also? Like that yes, Drake May struggled. Drake May missed some throws, was seeing ghosts, but I attribute that personally more to what the Seahawks were doing to Drake May.
Yeah.
Did they blitz once last night? I mean, four-man
that's a good
pressures
question.
all
Yeah, they
night.
did. On the
Yeah, they sent the safety
fumble.
blitz.
Yeah.
Hyperbolic by me. But
They
No,
didn't
I mean,
have to.
They were getting pressure with 4. I mean,
all night.
The way that they were able to dismantle the Patriots' rushing attack, like this was a completely dominant from start to finish performance by that defensive front.
And for what it's worth, Anybody that was conflicted about their MVP vote? Ooh, I don't know who to vote for. Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford had 961 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 turnovers against that defense.
God.
Through over, not
That's
just
insane.
one game, by the way. I mean,
That's insane.
It's unbelievable.
No, Titans scored 24 points against that defense.
did a little better than
we're just stating facts.
They had 3 and 14.
Yeah. Speaking of turnovers, Sam Darnold led the league in the regular season with 20 total turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold had 0 in the postseason. Is there a better modern age redemption story in the NFL than Sam Darnold? Cast off from New York, dreadful start to his career, bouncing around, and then cast off from Minnesota after going 14-3 as the starter, and them saying, no, we'd rather ride with the second-year kid that we haven't seen start a game. And now Sam Darnold is a Super Bowl champion.
You brought up to me this morning Mike Vick, and I dismissed it initially because I was like, we didn't win a Super Bowl. But understanding redemption arc does not have to include the winning of a Super Bowl. It just puts it over the top for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is redeemed, whether he wins that Super Bowl or not, right? Unless he has the Drake May game, like where he just crashes out spectacularly. I feel like you got to come away. Maybe it's a loser's argument, but if Sam Darnold didn't win that game but played reasonably well, wasn't a disaster, you still have to look at that as a redemption arc, right? The fact that he won the Super Bowl makes it spectacular. And he's not overly quotable. There's nothing really. Is there anything spectacular about the way that Sam Darnold plays quarterback other than he had the best game of his career to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC Championship game and did nothing inherently to cost them their Super Bowl victory last night? Like, he was just what they needed him to be and missed a few opportunities because the Patriots defense was good. That was not the issue with New England last night. They were able to get pressure on him. They were able to find ways to disrupt the passing game. And finally, I mean, the dam just broke in the second half. They were not scoring any points. It was impossible what they were trying to do. He's not somebody that I think fans talk about, like, what is the Sam Darnold superpower? He threw a moon ball. That ball had to go 70 yards in the air. It ended up being an incompletion. I want to say to Shaheed, who was
Gonzalez broke up.
Yeah. I mean, Christian Gonzalez.
He robbed them of some incredible plays.
Awesome.
No, Darnold's hero moment came in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, I'd say.
Which, when
but
you
I'm
look
talking
at
about
it,
superpower, not hero moment, superpower. What does Sam Darnold do better than any other quarterback in the league, right? You could talk about Mahomes and Allen and Lamar and all these other players. Hell, you could even talk about Drake May. His legs were not as big a factor as they needed them to be last night, but Drake May's got that part of his game. Sam Darnold with a couple of nice scrambles last night, but I don't think there's any one thing that you would look at, say, that distinguishes him from his quarterback peers, and yet I think he deserves all the credit in the world for what he did. It's awesome.
Yeah, like that's okay, right?
Oh, no.
Like, Josh Allen has a superpower. Pat Mahomes has superpowers. Sam Darnold has just been a really damn good quarterback
and just
all
won the
season.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm talking about is the way that they're perceived, right? Where people think you are a great quarterback because you can do X. Sam Darnold does all of these things well enough.
Yeah.
And I want to find this tweet, something about Sam Darnold's, from Brian Costello, who covers the Jets. Obviously, a lot of Jets fans watching the Super Bowl longingly last night, I'm sure. He tweets, after Sam Darnold won his first game as Jets quarterback, Todd Bowles had this to say, trying to calm people down. Quote, "We've won one game. I can tell you, after about 100 more of them, whether we have won," talking about the quarterback, "or not. Right now, it's a little early." The Super Bowl was Darnold's 101st game.
Wow.
How
That's
about
crazy.
that?
And who was it against?
The Patriots.
The Patriots.
The
who,
Ghosts. Yeah.
The team that he was playing when he had the I'm seeing ghosts bit. Like, you don't get a lot of full circle moments like that that can just come to fruition so perfectly. I mean, that's good stuff, man. The Vic redemption story is kind of in a category of its own. That's not just a football. That's an image redemption from Michael Vick, from bottoming out to the horrible things in Atlanta to dude's on TV now and is an upstanding citizen and a coach. So I feel like Michael Vick has his own redemption story that belongs in a separate category. But I know a lot of folks have reminded us about Jim Plunkett and his arc being drafted by the Patriots and, not really doing anything and bouncing around and then becoming a 2-time Super Bowl champ with the Raiders. But you talk about rags to riches in terms of bottoming out and being viewed as a certain kind of quarterback, being viewed as a total bust all the way to this mountaintop. That's just not a thing that happens very often. We've seen reclamation projects at quarterback, but this is officially the best version of any reclamation project we've seen.
615-737-1045 if you would like to chime in. Titanomics.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
Yo.
My biggest loser for this game would have had to been Stephon Diggs because not only did y'all lose the game, but you took a punch to the face. If I'm not mistaken, that was him who got into a fight.
Yeah, I couldn't believe they didn't throw a flag on that. That was egregious.
Yeah, but, man, to lose and get punched in the face and not being able to do anything about it is it's just terrible. But also, y'all asked what Sam Darnold has that every other quarterback doesn't have. I would say his attitude and his humbleness is the biggest thing because, man, the way he takes coaching from every coach that he's had over the years is just outstanding, man. It just shows a lot about his character. And that's all I got. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you for the call. He didn't do anything last night, Stephon Diggs.
3 catches for 37, had one 26-yard reception that I think was on a scoring drive, if I'm not mistaken. But nobody on that offense did anything of note, right? At what point did you feel that game was over?
Oh, halftime. I mean, they felt like they were
9-0.
They felt like they were drowning.
Yeah.
The amount of times that they would just get out there, go 3 and out, and then give the ball right back to the Seahawks, who were also not doing much, but Kenneth Walker was just able to get them in field position. Again, Sam Darnold wasn't doing anything spectacular. He did enough to win the game. How caught up do most fans, and again, I would defer to the two of you on this, because you're right, I've got some blind spots here. But, I feel like when we talk about players putting their team over the top, or when people cite Cam Ward, for example, and his playmaking ability and how that's going to be the Titans' edge and all these different things. Like, when you talk about quarterbacks in these moments, yes, you do want them to have a spectacular moment that helps you win the game, but at the end of the day, don't they just have to do what Sam Darnold did? Which is to defer to your run game, your defense. If your run game is efficient, right? If the game forces you more into a drop-back situation, obviously you're going to want your quarterback to do a little more heavy lifting. But all he did was ride the wave, right? He took advantage of opportunities. He missed some. The Patriots defense made some plays too. But at the end of the day, don't you just want the quarterback to do the job as well as it needs to be done?
Sure, and that is a good, looking at this game specifically, that is how you would describe it, right? Unspectacular, just did the job that needed to be done, didn't put his team in a disadvantageous position. But as a whole, 0 turnovers through a postseason on the way to the Super Bowl has not happened ever for a quarterback, right? Isn't that the first time?
Flacco.
Did Flacco have 0 turnovers in that playoff
He didn't
run?
have an interception. It was like 14 touchdowns, 0 picks, right?
In the whole playoff run. Correct.
He had no fumbles either.
I don't know if he didn't have a fumble.
Yeah, I don't think he had a single turnover.
Okay, but that in and of itself is spectacular. After the pivot that it took for Darnold to have 20 turnovers in the regular season and 0 in the postseason, they were the 1 seed, so he played 3 games and not 4. But that in and of itself, to me, is spectacular. In the NFC Championship, he was spectacular. So, yes, you can win with replacement-level quarterback play or average quarterback play, especially when you're playing a team like the Patriots where you know they're not going to hang 35 on you. But at some point along the way, you are going to need the spectacular to happen 9 times out of 10. It happened in the NFC Championship game.
His spectacular was efficiency more than anything else. It's kind of like that Josh Allen performance against the Jags where he didn't do any of the superstar Josh Allen, Mad Max stuff. He just kind of drummed him to death, right? Honestly, I wonder what happens if the Jags win that game, because I think that the Jaguars were probably the best team in the AFC at the end of the year. And Buffalo there were 2 or 3 missed opportunities that Trevor Lawrence had that Josh Allen didn't make those mistakes. And the thing that killed Josh Allen in the end, not killed him, but you understand, that damned the Bills at the end was the turnovers. is it just as simple as don't turn the ball over? Like football, one of these things that football is not complex, it's just detailed. Like, just don't turn the football over.
I think we try to make it simple that way, but at the end of the day, you usually need your quarterback to put on a cape at some point in these playoff runs. Playing a Mike Vrabel, they just happen to be playing a Mike Vrabel coach team in the Super Bowl. When you're playing Mike Vrabel, you probably don't need your quarterback to put on his cape. You just need to make less mistakes and take care of the football and play sound defense and all of these things.
And have a defense that's going to force all manner of errors on the opposing quarterback.
Yeah. But at some point, Sam Darnold went Superman mode a couple of games ago against the Rams. So it's easy for us to sit here and say after the Super Bowl, look, see, you don't need the MVP caliber, but sometimes you need bits of it. And they needed every bit of that 346-yard, 3-touchdown performance he had against Los Angeles.
Well, he's a professional athlete, right? It's kind of like the Eli Manning theory. Like, just because Eli wasn't great maybe in the regular season or as statistics stack up, like Eli Manning could still get hot because he's still a professional athlete. And those dudes can turn it on at any one given moment. I mean, hell, we saw Will Levis throw for 4 touchdowns in a game. Like, those things can happen. 615-737-1045 is the number. Coming up next up, are you done feuding with Lucas and me? Are you ready to participate?
No.
Will you do it anyway because it's
Mock Draft Monday? We will see.
next?
Mock draft.
Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. I thought you were going to sing for us.
Yeah. Not really feeling up to it.
Too much gas.
Yes.
So, Mock Draft Monday is back. Better than ever. Is this the first real Mock Draft Monday? Because theoretically, we could have been doing Mock Draft Monday in October when their season was effectively over.
No, the first one what we did was the first real Mock Draft Monday.
Yeah, but this is the season.
No.
The season is over.
No.
It's finally over.
This is the third.
The third Mock Draft Monday.
Yes.
Even though the football season just ended yesterday.
Yes. We should have been doing them probably in December.
Don't look at me.
Don't worry, I'm not.
If we had started doing them in December,
What? What would have happened to you?
we would be so tired of Mock Draft Monday already because
you would be tired of Mock
Wrong-o.
Draft
we would
Monday.
just be repeating things.
That's fine.
In fact,
There's an entire industry that damn near is as big as the games themselves built off this.
Isn't that our whole show's stick is just repeating things that someone else has already said on the
It's not
show?
a shtick. It's just something that he does because he doesn't listen.
so let's go ahead and repeat the last Mock Draft Monday we did. As Nick Baumgardner of The Athletic has put out a mock draft that dropped this morning at 4:45 a.m. Central Time that has the Titans taking
Had to get it out there.
Oh, is it Bane?
Reuben Bain with the number 4 overall pick. He says, I go back and forth on whether Bain is a top 5 pick. Concerns about his length are real, and his production has been at times inconsistent, but his wire-to-wire college football playoff performance definitely helped ease minds. Mendoza obviously 1 to the Raiders. Arvell Reese, 2 to the Jets, the edge out of Ohio State. He has the offensive tackle Spencer Fano out of Utah going to Arizona at 3. And then right after the Titans at 5, he's got the Giants taking Carnell Tate, the Ohio State wide receiver. So what would the consensus be if it did come down to that? If come draft day, Carnell Tate is considered wide receiver 1, Reuben Bain Jr. also considered a bona fide top 5 pick. If it comes down to edge and receiver, what would the discussion around here be? How split would it be? After watching a Super Bowl where the loser did not have a clear-cut number 1 and the winner most certainly did.
But the winner did not win that game based on JSN.
No,
the
but
winner
again,
won that game based on the strength of their defensive front. So I think the conversation, especially if you're talking about, it depends on how much say. Obviously, the coaching staff will have input on what the front office does. But if you're looking at Robert Saleh and the thing that Robert Saleh has excelled the most at, then I would think you were going front 7 player, regardless of if it's edge or a defensive end, a more traditional defensive end, or a defensive lineman type of situation. Bain is obviously the topic of discussion here as an edge guy. I would think that, one, you are hoping that Brian Dable can create opportunities that will help Cam, will help Alec Iamaner, will help Gunnar Helm. And that, honestly, where are we on Calvin Ridley? As a show, are we pro or against keeping Calvin Ridley? I think I'm pro. Like, what harm does it really do? Other than, I think Calvin, and this is just my opinion, maybe people feel differently, and I'm sure Calvin would take issue with it, but I think he gets in his head a little bit, and that impacts how effective he's able to be. He wasn't reliable last year. And that, in fact, that's probably, of all the things that were disappointing about the Titans in 2025, Calvin Ridley is up there.
His cap hit in 2026 is $26.7 million. If they were to cut him loose, they would take on a $13 million dead cap hit. So it's an interesting discussion that we can have. But to your point about JSN maybe not being a primary reason why the Seahawks won last night, he was injured for a big part of it.
Yeah.
But I don't want us to focus too much on
last night,
that game.
Yeah.
And you win a Super Bowl by winning how the Seahawks won last night.
But there's no comparison between what JSN was coming out and what Carnell Tate is projected to be, right? People aren't having that conversation about, like, if you take a wide receiver at 4, he's got to be Julio.
Oh,
that
sure.
was the whole
Yeah, he has to be
conversation around
bona fide wide receiver 1.
They tried their damnedest to trade out of that Corey Davis pick, and it ended up working out for them because the wide receiver run started after they took Corey at 5. But, like, think about the way the Titans fans view the Corey Davis experience. And I'm not saying that Carnell Tate will be like Corey Davis, but he's got to be closer to Julio than he does to Corey.
But that discussion's going to going to go on.
Sure.
I feel like until late in the game. Wide receiver 1 between Tate, Jordan Tyson, and I guess Mekhi Lemon. Right? And I don't know, is there a lot of separation between those three as we currently sit, understanding there's still so much to go in workouts and interviews?
I think it just matters who you're talking to, like how the Titans would view Mekhi Lemon and their offense versus Carnell Tate, or how the Jets might view them, right? I think it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
But, and to your point, like, you're going to have, like, with Jordan Tyson, it's the medicals. Like, how clean does that come back? Having the workout with Lemon, like, what does Tyson end up running? What does Lemon end up running? Like, that's the main separator. But again, I mean, to piggyback back to your Calvin Ridley discussion, if you do cut him and you do make $13 million on the cut, one, I don't think you need that $13 million to find someone to replace him.
Yeah.
The free agency class is not that great.
At wide receiver, no.
Right. And if you're not hurting for money. I think if you put the correct expectations on Ridley, he could still be a valuable piece for this offense.
Because you want to see if Dable can do anything with him and recreate their success at Alabama. Obviously, a lot has happened for both of them since they were together in Tuscaloosa. But still, it's a feather in your cap type of situation, because people immediately talked about the impact on Cam. Well, what about for Calvin? And Calvin's thing is health, right? And reliability. I mean, prior to him getting hurt, the Arizona game was the one time you could say Calvin really did his job today.
Where did the other usual suspects that are mocked to the Titans land? David Bailey, Maui Goa, where did they end up slotting into the mock draft?
According to Nick Baumgartner, Maui Goa is off the board at 6 to the Browns, and David Bailey is at 7 to the Commanders. Jordan Tyson, 8 to the Saints.
Both of them still maintaining top 10 pick aspirations.
Yes. And he does have Jeremiah Love in the top 10, 9 to the Chiefs, with the Auburn edge rusher, Keldrick Falk, rounding out the top 10 to Cincinnati. With the Titans taking Reuben Bain in this mock draft with number 4, he has them taking Bama wide receiver Jeremy Bernard at 35 in the second round.
I think that's a much better solution, right? And there's also the thing that we obviously can't predict is what is the interest in any team coming up to trade with the Titans at 4? It sounds like the Raiders are kind of locked into Fernando Mendoza the same way that the Titans were locked in. I mean, I'm sure there will still be offers made. Well, I don't know that, but I would assume that there would be at least some testing of the waters, right? Kind of like, all right, what would Vegas actually listen to? And is it anywhere in the ballpark for, if you're the Jets, who don't have a quarterback situation and multiple first-round picks, can we at least entertain your interest in moving around? That quarterback discussion obviously does not benefit the Titans this year. There are no other consensus top 5 quarterbacks, even as we get to the combine. Like, Ty Simpson is not going to rocket himself up the charts just because of his performance in Indianapolis, right? Like, we're not expecting to see Ty Simpson go in the first 15 picks. Now, there could always be a Denver Broncos Bo Nix type of situation. A team could look at one of these players who we are kind of turning our nose up at a little bit and be like, no, that guy fits what I want to do. I know I can make that work. It's worth the 12th overall pick to me.
Baumgartner's got Ty Simpson 21 to Pittsburgh. So he does have him in the first round.
Okay. But
the draft's going to start at the number 2 overall pick, it feels like.
Yeah. It's fascinating to see what the Jets try and figure out here. I mean, it may not matter because they're in a terrible situation either way. All right. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to chime in. We do have some calls to take on the Super Bowl. We will reset the Super Bowl conversation coming up next.
Coming up on 12 o'clock, good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Seahawks are Super Bowl 60 champs after beating the Patriots 29-13 in Santa Clara. Seattle led 19-0 before the Patriots scored for the first time early in the fourth. Drake May sacked 6 times, 21 times in the postseason, which is an NFL record. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold was 19 of 38, 202 yards and a touchdown. It was running back Kenneth Walker who took home Super Bowl MVP, 161 yards from scrimmage. Walker is the first running back to win the award since Terrell Davis in Super Bowl 32. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour is upon us as we react to the final football game of the NFL season. We're happy to have you. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to chime in on the Seahawks dismantling of the New England Patriots. Sam Darnold, Mike McDonald, Kenneth Walker III, Super Bowl MVP. Did you see the Jeff Darlington tweet from Super Bowl Media Days,
yes,
media availability, where Jeff Darlington, who's obviously one of the NFL insiders at ESPN, they do a lot of media availability throughout the course of the week leading up to the Super Bowl, obviously. And Jeff Darlington 4 days ago tweeted a picture of Seahawks media availability. And it says, I've been around the Seahawks each of the last 3 days, and it's pretty wild how little media attention Kenneth Walker III is getting. He's not your typical talker, and he's pretty soft-spoken. But, like, this dude could wind up at the Super Bowl or as the Super Bowl MVP, and he's just hanging. And it's a picture of a very sad-looking, like, card table with a black tablecloth over it, some folding chairs in a convention center type of room, an auxiliary room. And there's one reporter with a microphone talking to Kenneth Walker, but I don't know what that microphone is. It looks to be some obscure, like, sports blog site or something like that. It's certainly not one of the major networks. And meanwhile, it looks like Kenneth Walker's dad taking a picture of him while he's being interviewed by this one sad blogger at Super Bowl Media Day.
Speaking of that, totally unrelated, but did you see the Hispanic TV station trying to sneak the mic in during Darnold's postgame with Melissa Stark?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I thought that was so funny. Just out of the corner, you see Azteca TV, just the mic flag just enter the frame. And somebody clearly shoving him out of the way. That was great. But Kenneth Walker, Memphis native, by the way, Arlington High School.
First, did I see that he's the first Tennessee native to win Super Bowl MVP?
Oh, that might be true. That might be true. It was almost Jawan Jennings a couple years ago. If the Niners had won, they probably would have given it. Didn't you? They probably would have given it to McCaffrey. I had $1 on Jawan to win Super Bowl MVP, and he would have deserved it had the Niners won that overtime game against Kansas City. McCaffrey for sure would have gotten it, though. Seems to be a very wholesome individual, Kenneth Walker.
He looks 45, and then you hear him speak, and his voice is like 12. It's kind of like a little higher pitched and squeaky, not squeaky, but higher pitched than you would expect it to be for a grown-ass man, especially the way that he plays such a violent sport. He was awesome yesterday, very deserving of the Super Bowl MVP, over 160 yards over 160 yards from scrimmage yesterday between what he was able to do on the ground and a few catches as well. So, as we talk about the Super Bowl, and we've talked about the Super Bowl a great deal this morning for obvious reasons, the conversation about what happens next, what did we learn from this NFL season, and what lessons can be applied for everybody, not just, Titans fans who are hoping and waiting and wishing that their team turns into something competent again after back-to-back 3-14 finishes. Not just Jets fans who are watching longingly as the player that they drafted. Was Sam Darnold the third overall pick in that draft?
Yeah.
Either way, a first-round draft pick go on to win the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, who are your divisional rival if you're the Jets, for Seattle. After the stat that NBC had last night, or again, a fact, not a stat, but the idea that Sam Darnold was the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl after having played for 5 total NFL franchises in his career, which is crazy because he's still under 30. I think he's like 28 or 29. The Sam Darnold redemption arc is interesting here. How recreatable, if at all, is what Seattle just did for another team who has Super Bowl aspirations? Is Seattle going to be in a position to replicate their own success? Because Kenneth Walker is a free agent, right? Success starts to chip away at what you've built up over time. And it kind of speaks to the idea of what is a Super Bowl window really, and how realistic are, because no Super Bowl window is created equal. It just depends on who you're talking about and where they are in their competitive life cycle. And if you're one shot, if you're the Patriots, that might be the only shot that they get. So Drake may not be back in the Super Bowl.
Is it just going to be a repeat of the Vrabel era here? You peak early, certain circumstances that put you on a run on the cusp of a Super Bowl, lose, and then unable to recreate it or sustain it?
It's way more likely that happens, like a higher-end version of his time here in Tennessee, because obviously they're in a better situation, right? In New England, he's got a better quarterback situation. They are in the process of, I mean, how many people would have said that New England is still rebuilding this year, and they got to the Super Bowl? So they are still technically in that process and will continue to fortify the roster around them. But if you told me that Drake May didn't get back to a Super Bowl in the next 5 years, I'd be like, yeah, likely.
No, but they have mighty Vrabel.
Well, sure, but he doesn't play quarterback. He wasn't playing quarterback yesterday.
He certainly wasn't playing quarterback when he was coaching here. First half, the Pats were outgained 183-51. How many times do you think they crossed the 50 in the first three quarters?
Twice.
Once.
Ugh.
On the opening drive.
God.
So they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 consecutive drives, not crossing midfield before that touchdown drive early in the fourth quarter. Punt, 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 end of half, punt, 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 fumble, touchdown, interception, interception, touchdown, end of game.
Yeah, their drive chart is disgusting.
That's your Patriots drive chart, 29-13 final.
What was the biggest lesson that we all learned from this season?
The season as a whole?
The season as a whole. The NFL season. And we could do this tomorrow if you think this would be a better exercise for tomorrow, because we can still talk about Super Bowl stuff today. Maybe tomorrow?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
Let's table that discussion until tomorrow, because I do think that there's some applicable lessons from both of these teams, frankly. But, like, Seattle was the best team wire to wire, it felt like. Not by record, but they were the best
kind
team.
of by record. They were the 1 seed.
What was the Rams' record?
Not better than the Seahawks. And were the Broncos...
Did they have the best record in the NFC?
Yes, they were the 1 seed.
Okay.
14 and 3, right?
Yeah, Seahawks were 14-3. Rams were 12-5.
Oh, that's my bad. I thought they were like a 12-win team or something like that.
Were the Broncos also 14-3? Or were they 13-4? Either way, yes, the Seahawks had...
They were also 14-3.
Okay, very good.
Tied for the best record in the regular season, and obviously the best by the end of the season.
Seattle got back to the Super Bowl after winning it and then lost to the Patriots. Is it more likely that Sam Darnold and the Seahawks team play in another Super Bowl during Sam Darnold's tenure there? Because he's on a 3-year contract. Is that right? It's not long term.
It was a 3-year deal, and he has no more guaranteed money on his contract.
That's fascinating. He should get an extension.
Well, Seattle, that's kind of like their MO when it comes to, we're going to break it down. I wish I knew what MO actually stood for.
That's pretty good.
When Seattle gives contracts out to veterans, they stack the guaranteed money in the first year and leave very little in the rest of the contract by design. I mean, that's just how they approach veterans with contracts. I mean, you would imagine that Sam Darnold, a la how many quarterbacks have gotten paid because of the Super Bowl. Joe Flacco is the first one that comes to mind. You would imagine he would get a pretty sizable bump from like the 35 to 40 million that he is expected to make.
Is it more likely that Sam Darnold is back in the Super Bowl in the next 3 years, or that the Seahawks never get back with him?
I mean, the latter.
Sure.
Statistically, I think if that would apply to anybody. The thing that Mike
but is
McDonald...
the Super Bowl window still open in that situation?
Well, now Mike McDonald has to do the thing. He has to replace the offensive coordinator. And he has to do it where he can actually start doing it in February when the season's over. Yeah. And everybody's already done it. So this is a tough, kind of a victim of your own success situation here for Seattle, where maybe they go in-house because Clint Kubiak's gone. He all but confirmed that.
Makes
post-game
way
on the
more
field.
sense to go in-house this late in the game, right? You want to keep some kind of continuity there. You would interview in-house candidates. One would think. I have no idea what Seattle's going to go about doing this. But
There are still some OC jobs open.
Brian Callahan's still available.
In fact, we missed this. Did we talk about Cliff Kingsbury joining the Rams coaching staff?
Unless you guys did on Friday when I was sick.
Yeah, I don't think we did. So
Yeah, but not as a coordinator or anything like that. He's just an offensive assistant.
I don't know if it's been reported exactly what his role is going to be.
Robert just said in my ear offensive assistant, but we don't have like an official title for Cliff Kingsbury, like a senior, like a Mike McCoy type of situation.
Is that surprising?
That he couldn't get an OC job?
21 open OC jobs?
And Cliff couldn't get one?
I mean, I think it's kind of like Mac Jones taking the backup role with Kyle Shanahan. Like, he understands that if he goes there, he's going to get a gig and probably get a pick of the litter better job than he would have now, being shoeholed into ever how many OC openings are left.
Because we don't know if anybody actually offered Cliff a job, right?
We just know that he interviewed for a ton of them.
We know that he interviewed. We don't know if he got any actual offers or if he got offers and didn't accept them, right? I mean, it's not like I would assume that would have been reported on, but I haven't seen anything like that. I think it makes a lot more sense for Cliff to just go back to a situation where, I mean, they could win the Super Bowl next year, the Rams, and Cliff could have as much shine on his contributions to that as he's ever had in his coaching career.
Who's the best candidate out there? Who's going to be the most sought-after OC? I mean, how many jobs are still
Especially if he's not calling plays, because Kubiak's going to call the plays, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's come out. I mean, he just said for the first time yesterday that he is going to be the Raiders coach, but I would imagine he's going to be a play-calling head coach.
Well, the tough part for both of them, you already kind of noted it, is that it's so late in the cycle. A lot of these positions have already been filled, but Clint is going to borrow a lot from Mike McDonald's squad. He's probably going to take a lot of people off his defensive side. Why wouldn't he take
You
one
said
of
Clint, you mean Cliff?
No, Kubiak.
Yes. You said Clint initially.
Is it not Clint Kubiak who got the Raiders job?
It is Clint Kubiak.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting them mixed up.
Now you've got me messed up.
You did the thing that you thought he did.
Yes. My brain was not working on
So,
that particular situation.
kind of
I'm sorry.
similar to the Ravens, the Chargers, and the Giants, all kind of stealing from the Harbaugh. Oh, Jim likes this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, but also the Ravens' new head coach likes this guy. Oh, but Harbaugh likes this guy. They're all going to be farming from the same system. Well, that system has been farmed out where Mike might want to go back to try to find an offensive coordinator with, let me maybe go get Greg Roman. Oh, wait, Greg Roman's an offensive assistant with John Harbaugh in New York. Oh, wait, maybe I can go get this guy. It's so late in the cycle, and they're all borrowing from the same coaching tree. It's going to be hard to fill out a coaching staff that you would deem, like what the Titans have done, the praise that they've gotten for putting this staff together. I don't think you'll see that for the Raiders staff or the replacements on Seattle staff.
Well, and it's also possible that somebody like Kingsbury could do what Mike McDaniel did, right? What if Seattle comes calling? Somebody just brought that up in the chat. Emmett in the chat says Kingsbury might replace Kubiak. Like, you can accept a role to be a senior offensive assistant for the Rams, and should Seattle come calling about their offensive coordinator job, be like, yeah, guys, appreciate your interest, but this is a better situation for me. So there is that possibility, too, for people who have already, in theory, accepted jobs without putting literal pen to paper. Maybe Cliff has signed a contract by now. We obviously don't know that. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to chime in. Anthony is at Kroger. All right, well done by Anthony.
He must be checking out.
Was he in line when he called you?
He could be
Is he working?
self-checkout.
Do you think he's on his break?
He said he was coming to get some groceries because everybody ate all his stuff.
He's probably
last night.
frantically digging for his Kroger card.
Let's go to Kevin in Murfreesboro.
Hey, y'all, I'm just pointing out and want to just pose a question. If the awards had to be given out after the Super Bowl, who would the coach of the year be, in your opinion?
McDonald.
Yes.
I mean, it seems absolutely ridiculous, just like the Heisman, that we're handing out this award without the most important game of the season happening here. Here's the other thing that I want to point out, and just a little bit of hope for Titans fans. Go back and watch Cam Ward versus the Seattle Seahawks and probably what was his best game of the year.
Okay, thank you for the call. Are a lot of Titans fans doing that today? I mean, they lost.
Doing what?
Cam Cam's best game of the year came against the Seahawks, even though they lost?
Was that his best performance of the season?
I think so. I mean, they lost still, but like I didn't come away from that. Like that was one of the few Cam games that was like, all right, like you can make me a believer with this.
Yeah, that was that early on in that, or that was pre-December, right? That was before they started to string together a couple of
no.
Yeah, it was. It was November 23rd.
Yeah, but that was right at because they played a good game against the Chargers before that.
And the Patriots, yeah. And then the week after they got routed by the Jags, and then that started that run of December where we started to see Cam kind of stack. But yeah, he was 28 of 42 for 256 and a touchdown and a rushing score as well.
Okay.
Yeah, he was good against that defense. He was good against some pretty good defenses there on the backstretch.
But to that caller's point, why is this award given out not after the Super Bowl? Because it's not a full season award.
It's a regular season
None
award.
of the awards that are given out at the NFL award banquet have anything to do with the playoffs. Or they say at least they do not. The playoffs have no bearing on the MVP, the Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
It is a regular season award.
I guess he's saying it should.
That's his argument. But like also, you could have voted for Mike McDonald. They had the opportunity to vote for Mike McDonald during the regular season. Like what he did during the regular season. Wait, it's not like he did anything differently, right?
He finished second to Vrabel.
It's interesting, and I think I saw Ted Wynn bring this up on Twitter. He's one of the film analysts for The Athletic, and I thought he made a good point about this. Vrabel deserves credit for turning the Patriots from a 4-win team into a Super Bowl participant. Absolutely. And Josh McDaniels deserves, he got the Assistant Coach of the Year award. But is Coach of the Year specific to, this was the point that Ted made, best turnaround, like almost a comeback, a different version of comeback player of the year? Because what Vrabel did was turn the Patriots around versus the schematic skill that a single coach brings to the table, which is more what the Assistant Coach of the Year award is. Because either way, you could have, does Mike McDonald lose out on something like Assistant Coach of the Year because he's a head coach that calls his own defensive plays when he was clearly the best defensive play caller of anybody?
He was the best play caller in the NFL this season, Mike McDonald, offense or defense.
Should that not indicate Coach of the Year? He got consideration. It's not like he was just completely snubbed.
It felt like there were multiple very deserving candidates of NFL Coach of the Year in the regular season.
Robert, you had something?
Yeah, I don't think he was the best assistant coach in the NFL. I think Josh McDaniels should have won that because
he was good.
What he got out of that offense. Look at despite what it did last night, what he got out of that offense. I think, in spite of what it did last night, he should retroactively. We should be like, oh yeah, you should probably win it twice this year. Like for what he was able to squeeze out of that. I don't think Mike McDonald doing that with an incredible defense that is homegrown that he picked. I don't know. That would I would combat that he was the best play caller in the NFL. He was a great play caller. I don't want to diminish that, but I don't think he was the best.
I do think last night's game made Titans fans more excited about Cam Ward. Watching the Assistant Coach of the Year and MVP runner-up run into brick wall after brick wall. And you go back, the Titans rushed for 64 yards in that game. That was well before they got anything going on the ground late in the season. And Cam Ward was the lead rusher with 37 yards, and Gunnar Helm was the lead receiver with 6 catches for 51.
Sure.
Granted, a November regular season game, it is different. The stakes are different. The setting is different. But I think it is okay to watch that game and say, hey, okay, we can look back at what our rookie quarterback did against that defense.
Oh, our.
That's me putting on the hat.
You're a big wee guy?
Putting on the hat.
Big wee guy, are you? Didn't you just get mad at Ross about that the other day? I need to yell at Ross about that. Stop saying we. You work in sports media. You're not on the team.
Yeah, we don't do that, dude.
You don't do that. You don't do that with the Ravens. I don't ever hear you do that with the Ravens.
Do I not?
I don't think so.
I thought I was on the team. I should start doing that more.
There's nothing that makes me madder. You're not on the team. Don't say we. All right. This is unrelated to the Super Bowl, but I feel like if we don't take this call now, we won't take it. Ryan in Hopkinsville.
Hey, Buck, I got some beef for you.
Go ahead.
I want to know how on earth do you think Kentucky's a bad basketball team, but yet they're a half a game back in the Southeastern Conference? The floor is yours, my friend.
Oh, yeah, they're wildly inconsistent. They've had a lot of injuries this year.
But do explain, how is a bad team almost in first place in the conference? That makes no sense.
No, it's a completely fair argument by you, but I'm just not impressed with Kentucky basketball. I'm not impressed with the SEC this year. The SEC feels like it's kind of up for grabs, doesn't it?
You could just say they're not a bad basketball team. It'd
No,
be
I
a
don't
lot
want to do
easier.
that. I hate
I mean,
Kentucky.
we're pretty much Tennessee's daddy. I mean, but
I appreciate the call, Ryan.
Yeah, like it's okay to say they're not a bad basketball team. The caller is correct. They are obviously a good basketball team with inconsistencies.
Because they beat Tennessee?
No, because they're at the top of the SEC standings.
They're okay. I'll give them that. 615-737-1045 is the number. All right, we'll talk more Super Bowl. We'll take your phone calls coming up next.
So I imagine Titans fans were watching the game yesterday in two very different ways. One half longingly, as I think any fan base that's not playing in the Super Bowl does, dreaming of the day that their team can reach that pinnacle. And the other half, a little bit, maybe hate watching the Mike Vrabel side of things, or maybe you were rooting for Mike Vrabel and a lot of these former Titan staffers and players to win. But either way, what lessons can be taken from both of these teams? We can start with the Patriots on the losing end. What lessons can be taken from, number one, the quick turnaround the Patriots had in year one of Mike Vrabel, a turnaround that we saw in Jacksonville as well, that we're seeing a little bit around the NFL, and also what held them back from ultimately hoisting the Lombardi Trophy?
I think if you're starting on the Patriots side of things, it's that you got there before your roster was ready, right? That they did. I mean, they really did. And you can probably debate the merits of the Will Campbell 4th overall pick after the playoff run, not just yesterday where he was atrocious. There's going to be a lot of conversation, it seems like the reverse Skoronski. Why are they playing this tackle at guard, or why are they playing this guard at tackle type of situation? I feel like the arm length for Will Campbell is going to come up again, and there's going to be a lot of dialogue from Patriots fans and just people who thought he was a guard coming out of the draft process, being like, that guy needs to bump inside. He can't hang with the best edge rushers in pro football. Their roster was not ready for the point that they got it to. Now, I do think that that's a testament to both the roster and the coaching staff and everybody who put it together, that they were able to take advantage of their terrible schedule, get through a playoff run that was advantageous for them in a lot of different situations, and still make the Super Bowl, right? Like, they failed. But to get to the Super Bowl after being a projected, 7 or 8 win team is still kind of crazy.
What a weird year in the AFC.
It is a weird
It could
season.
not have been weirder in that conference this season, with who didn't make the playoffs and who did, and the path that was laid out. Like, trying to ride that line of figuring out the credit to give to the Patriots for punching way above their weight in terms of the roster, but also acknowledging some of the things that fell for them that were advantageous to get to the Super Bowl, but they still had to take advantage, which they did. But can we kind of put the Patriots year one under Mike Vrabel and the Jags year one under Liam Cohen in the same boat here, and then take it to the Titans?
Well, Jacksonville's roster is so much better than either of those situations.
Yeah, Ben Johnson year one in Chicago as well. I suppose the only way to relate it to the Titans is to talk about those year two leaps that you saw from Caleb Williams and Drake May that really drove those turnarounds. But yes, I would say the Bears roster also in a better spot than the Titans going into year two of Caleb Williams.
The other thing is that I would take from the losing side of this is that, can we dispel with the rookie quarterback contract in the Super Bowl? Because he just looked miserable out there. He was so not ready. And I'm not saying that in terms of like doubting his preparation, like his film study and all these different things, but that 23-year-old child was not ready for the ass whipping that a bunch of grown men put on him yesterday on that Seattle defense. Youth and inexperience. Sam Darnold may have had 5 stops, or I guess 4 stops en route to his 5th stop in Seattle, but Sam Darnold's played a lot of football, seen a lot of things. He's already had his ghost moment. What was the seeing ghost moment for Drake May this year prior to the Super Bowl? I mean, you could maybe say that Denver tried to put him in a blender. He made some good plays with his legs that were able to extend drives and just keep them alive so that they didn't lose the game. I think that the youth movement that people try to assign to, just get the rookie quarterback on the rookie deal and build around him, and that's your best shot at a Super Bowl. Until you get there and that rookie quarterback or that quarterback on a rookie contract gets pantsed.
Yeah, I think that's been debunked too, right? We've had that discussion on this show a lot. But of the last 10 Super Bowl champions, 7 of them were quarterbacked by a team that was drafted by that team. Drafted and developed by that team.
Name them. You have them.
I mean, I'm looking at the champs. Obviously, Tom Brady, and some of these are multiple, right? Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes has multiple. Jalen Hurts, and yeah. Nick Foles.
Nick Foles was drafted by the Eagles.
Yeah. And left, right? And then came back.
Did he come back? He was at the Raiders for a while. Did he come back as the backup? Yes. Okay.
So the exceptions are Darnold, Matthew Stafford, and Tom Brady with the Bucs are the only 3 to lead their team to a Super Bowl in the last 10 years that were not drafted by that team.
Does the offensive line matter as much as any one unit not named quarterback on your roster? Because that would also be a lesson here. I mean, they were dreadful.
So one note on Foles, that was when he won the Super Bowl was when he came back. He did not win the Super Bowl and then come back later. He was there as a rookie and then came back to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But first couple years in the league, he was a starter for Chip Kelly and the Eagles. So, yeah, that was kind of a roundabout thing.
And if you remember, he tied Peyton Manning's most touchdowns in a game record with 6 touchdowns.
It was 8 against the Raiders.
It was nuts.
He had a great start to his career.
No, he still has that record, tied with Peyton Manning for 7 touchdowns in a game. He has 3 NFL records: playoff completion percentage at 68.1, and 25 consecutive pass completions, tied with Phillip Rivers and Titans legend Ryan Tannehill. Didn't Jacoby Brissett break that this year, though? Didn't he have a game where he had more than 25 pass completions in a row?
In a row? I think he was like threatening.
Okay.
And it was a game that they were getting their ass kicked, wasn't it? I think he was chasing the whole time, checking it down. Either way.
Bryce points out in the F&M Bank chat, none of those guys that I just named that won with the team that drafted them were top 5 draft picks.
Well, that's the other part of this, right? I mean, it's the theory that bad teams or bad organizations stay bad for a reason. And there's a lot of familiarity in the top 5, top 10 of the NFL draft year over year, no matter how many times you think that your quarterback, your fresh-faced new quarterback represents hope. Statistically, you are proven to be incorrect by those quarterbacks giving you even a playoff appearance in those situations. It's a really tough thing to nail down. It is not an easy circumstance to try and rebuild, especially when you're as bad as a lot of these teams, including the Titans, have been for a considerable amount of time trying to dig themselves out of this hole.
What lessons do the Patriots take from this? Obviously, the offensive line struggled, but those are 2 foundational pieces at left tackle and left guard that I imagine they will continue on with here. So is the hope for them that Will Campbell continues to develop as a left tackle, and the next time he's on a similar stage that things will be better?
I mean, he was solid during the regular season. He just got exposed.
The injury
during the
really
playoffs.
derailed his season.
I mean, he had a really tough stretch in the postseason.
And
They
then
also don't have a playmaking wide receiver.
Exactly.
Diggs was that for them, but he was 3 catches for 37 yards last night.
Yeah, and Booty, right? Kayshon Booty
That's how Tarico was saying it.
has played, he's punched above his weight this season. Mac Hollins was their lead receiver yesterday, so that's a clear need. On the flip side of that, what lessons come from the Seahawks and the way they won this Super Bowl, which is not very easily replicable in year 2, where Mike McDonald is supposed to be building the foundation for a Super Bowl run. He went out and paid for Sam Darnold, and JSN took this huge leap, and he coordinated the best defense in the league. And here they are, just like that. He is, it's he, McVay, and Tomlin now, the youngest coaches to win a Super Bowl.
Man. Where are the two of you, and the audience can chime in on this, by the way, 615-737-1045 in the time that we have remaining. The idea of drafting your quarterback solution organically, again, it depends on where you are in your roster cycle, where you're picking that quarterback. Drafting your quarterback organically versus going out and paying for something that you can count on more, that takes less time to get to this point. Now, again, Sam Darnold is a very specific situation. It's a quarterback that won 14 games for his previous team. That team let him walk. And I wonder if the Daniel Jones didn't bite Minnesota in the ass as much as the J.J. McCarthy thing did. Because it sounded like, based on the reporting, that they were pretty confident they were going to be able to keep Daniel Jones, and he decided, no, I have a better opportunity in Indianapolis. He was right, and would have been proven right had he stayed healthy. But the idea of it being in the best interest of a franchise to take a flyer on a rehabilitated quarterback situation as opposed to trying to manifest your own guy. There's no one right way to do it.
Yeah, obviously it's not a black and white answer, but I think if you have your way and you're considering both scenarios and both are working out, right? Like, let's say you have to pick one. Both are going to work out. I think you go with the draft and develop. Because there is something to having that quarterback on a rookie contract and the trajectory that provides.
I just think the cap number goes up every year, and that if you are good at drafting organically, like it alleviates a lot of the pressure that quarterback. Obviously, the quarterback contract will put pressure on your salary cap if he's eating up 25% of your cap or whatever. But I mean, how many years is it going to take before we're talking about half $500 million as a salary cap? It's what, going to be 300 and something projected this year? Right now, it's not like the NFL is going anywhere as far as the finances go. Like, we're just going to keep climbing on this stuff. So just let's make it a Titans example specifically. Sam Darnold obviously does not win the Super Bowl if he is the Titans quarterback, but does taking the Giants trade at 3, letting the Giants draft Cam Ward, fortifying your roster in a variety of different ways through the draft, and having Sam Darnold as your quarterback put you in a better position to succeed. You're not winning the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold as the Titans quarterback because we understand that the needs are so great. But does that put them in a better situation where they open up a window faster and more effectively? Because they just have more flexibility to address a variety of different things with whatever it is that the Giants gave them.
It's about floor versus ceiling, right?
Sure.
I think you have a higher floor if that's the route. If you had decided to take that trade and pay for Sam Darnold and put more parts and pieces around him, you probably would not have bottomed out at 3-14. I mean, who knows? Brian Callahan could still be fired. But you draft Cam Ward with the number 1 overall pick with the ceiling in mind of what can be done with a quarterback that you draft and develop and retain and build around. Because when we consider the greatest eras and greatest quarterbacks in the modern era, those are the situations, right?
Yeah, but to your point, not many of them are top 5 picks.
Sure, but what are you chasing then in that sense? Are you chasing a high floor or are you chasing
I think if you give yourself a high
ceiling
floor, you just give yourself more opportunities, right? Like, and this is kind of the argument about Tomlin, right? Like, Pittsburgh was caught in a bit of football purgatory. I'm sure Green Bay is starting to feel similar with LaFleur, where you just keep making the playoffs and you just keep losing.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh fans would kill to have a number 1 overall pick opportunity for a quarterback.
But they're not going to get it because they just hired Mike McCarthy. Like, that's not in their franchise DNA.
Yeah, and apparently Rodgers is leaning towards coming back.
Is this the worst case scenario for Steelers fans based on what they wanted?
Just the same result as last year, but more points along the way?
I mean, does it actually get you more points? I don't know.
Probably a few more points.
Okay, we'll see.
Like Mike McCarthy, I get Steelers fans are upset, but he has only had very productive offenses as a coach.
If it's me, I think personally I would prefer to have a franchise with a higher floor because I think you just get more opportunities at it rather than this crash out cycle that teams go through when they get bad, because there's no guarantee that you will ever achieve even that high floor again. There's no guarantee that the Titans are going to reach a floor that was their standard a couple of years ago with Cam Ward. We have no guarantees on that. There's hope and promise and potential and all the things that you traffic in that keep you interested, but we don't have any guarantees of that right now. And there's never any guarantees in any of this stuff. Last call for phone calls. If you've got them, we will wrap up the show coming up next. Welcome back to the show. Last call for phone calls. If you got them, 615-737-1045. We interrupt again your Super Bowl 60 recap coverage. We got to talk about this James Pierce story. I don't know if you were saving this for Oh No or Dumbest Thing in Sports or what have you, but the former Vols edge rusher turned Falcons first-round pick at edge was arrested outside of Miami on Saturday. It's a domestic issue with his girlfriend, who also, of course, is a professional athlete, Rakea Jackson. Pierce reportedly crashed his car during a police chase while trying to avoid the arrest. He was arrested Saturday evening, charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and aggravated stalking, all connected to domestic violence. He was also charged with aggravated battery of an officer, fleeing or eluding police with lights and siren, and resisting an officer without violence to his person. So he's being held at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center and he did a virtual appearance in court yesterday on Super Bowl Sunday. Also found in the vehicle was a weapon that is considered a deadly weapon. So the list of offenses for James Pierce keeps growing after what was a successful rookie season on the field.
Ugly, ugly story here. 5 felony charges. Like, we're talking about potentially years of jail time.
If he gets charged with one.
Yeah.
Like, he could come out of this. If he's found guilty on one charge, much less multiple. He's Barry Jackson, who's one of the South Florida media people who always does great reporting in that area, has said that he faces a minimum of 5-year sentences if he's found guilty on any one of these major felony charges that he faces.
Yeah, this isn't just a traffic stop that can be swept under the rug and everybody forgets about. I mean, you got to think that, the legal implications have to come first, right, before the football implications.
Yeah, I mean,
but sometimes
the NFL will have their own process.
Yeah, this is an ugly story. Falcons have put out a statement saying they are gathering more information,
which is as hands off from the circumstances you can be at this point in time. So, obviously, you hate for any kind of situation, especially any domestic situation that pops up for either party, especially where Tennessee fans are concerned. And I mean, you heard this. This is one of the things that kind of bothers me about the pre-draft process. We all had heard, whether you are in Knoxville, Tennessee, or here in Nashville, or when you went up to Combine at Indianapolis, the entire league was aware that there were some behavioral issues regarding James Pierce. To what extent the behavioral issues went was never definitively reported on, never disclosed. You had, I'm sure, and we don't know specifics about teams, but like even with, I'm blanking on the name of the Titans nose tackle, Devondre Sweat. Dane Brugler came on here and said just because he got the DUI, 2 weeks before the draft or whatever it was, there were teams that just flat out took him off their board. They're like, we're not messing with it. Domestic violence situations are enough for, I mean, he wouldn't have been invited to the Combine, obviously, if there was a previous domestic. Are we still doing that? Is the NFL still, because Jeff Simmons did not go to the NFL Combine because of his domestic issue in high school. I'm not sure if the NFL is still has that policy in place where if there are players with a domestic issue in their background, they are not invited to the NFL Combine. But, I mean, he's 22 years old. It's just throwing it all away. And we don't understand all the circumstances, obviously, between him and Rakea Jackson. But, there's really not much to add beyond keeping tabs on the legal situation other than what Lucas said, which is just a terrible story.
People are going to circle back to the character stuff. It's just inevitable. It's just kind of what happens. He had one legal incident at Tennessee, a vehicular incident in 2023. Apart from that, there were no major off-field issues. Tennessee almost never put James Pierce Jr. in front of a microphone. And that can be taken as one of two things, right? It can be taken as Tennessee didn't want James Pierce Jr. speaking and representing the program to the media, or it could be taken as that guy doesn't care about the media. He just loves ball. That's all he cares about. The guy just wants to play football. He's not comfortable. Nothing major ever came out, but there was always that stuff kind of bubbling under the surface. But it's always something that you just kind of feel gross about, right? When things like this happen and you try to tie it back to things that may or may not have been the case in the draft process.
That's not what I'm trying or mean.
No, I'm not saying you are, but it is something that inevitably is going to happen. Like the discourse around James Pierce Jr. from Falcons fans, even though he just set a franchise record for sacks by a rookie with 10.5, will say, see, I knew we shouldn't have given up a draft pick to trade back into the first to get him.
Didn't Vic Beasley have more than that his rookie year?
It was a sophomore year.
Yeah, it was a second year.
Okay. Yeah, no, I guess I'm always, my question becomes who knew what, when, regarding what James Pierce was capable of in these certain situations, and how close, if ever, did any circumstance like this get before? Because they've been together since college, right, in some form or fashion?
Yeah, Rakea obviously played at Tennessee.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even pretend, nor am interested in getting into the details of their relationship. But as it relates to what is this nebulous behavioral issue stuff that people are talking about, but nobody's willing to give specifics on, like how far did it go, and what were you comfortable kind of letting go if you were somebody who was just kind of keeping a cloud over? Yeah, there's just some behavioral stuff there. This far exceeds anything that people would consider general behavioral things regarding James Pierce. Tony is the last call of the day. All right, very good.
That's the same dude who was in Kroger earlier. He was like, oh, sorry, I was digging for my thing. I wanted to pitch you guys a hypothetical. I was like, I don't think they're going to take it, but you can slide in here if you'd like.
I didn't look at that it said Kroger again.
And he did it again.
He got you guys again.
That's great. Respect.
Don't call us again.
I do want to say that I thought that I had messed something up that I was supposed to do today, but I found out that it's not until tomorrow. McDonald's caviar countdown.
Oh.
21 hours, 9 minutes, and 26, 25, 24 seconds until McDonald's caviar McNugget extravaganza is open. I have set an alarm on my phone. Tomorrow, I will be getting us that beluga caviar with the cream fraiche and chicken nuggets.
You think you're having stomach? You want to blame your stomach problems on just Super Bowl? God knows what you put in your body.
I'm in here doing my job after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, at what cost? This poor kid that just got hired here has just been gassed out the entire time, sitting in a small, smelly room with you.
And I do it again. Have you ever heard paying your dues?
It's called initiation.
Have you ever heard paying your dues before?
You know what the problem is? You're just closed-minded is all. You're not open to new experiences.
Oh.
You don't want to experience the new things, the twists on life that institutions like McDonald's occasionally have to offer, like McDonald's caviar. There's not even that little bit of curiosity in your brain that says, I wonder what caviar by McDonald's tastes like.
You are correct. I am closed-minded on McDonald's caviar.
It's just sad to watch.
I can't wait until
somebody
the two
so
of you
closed off to the unexpected joys of life. Who would have thought?
You're making me sound like one of these people that watch the Turning Point halftime.
Who would have thought, for example, that a potato would taste good when you rip it out of the ground with its roots and you peel it and you wash it and you cook it? Who would have thought? But somebody, probably in Ireland somewhere, thought, well, let me give this a try. When all the bucks of ancient Ireland were looking at them out of the side eye going, okay, really? Really? You're going to eat that?
Correct.
Out of the ground.
And then what did we get?
Dirt.
What do we have? We have French fries and tater tots and baked potatoes and potato chips. But because of your closed-mindedness, the potato almost never happened.
Somebody on YouTube points out correctly that I've forgotten the new guy's name. What's your name?
Zach.
Zach. All right, very good. Polls.
They're presented by Two Rivers Ford, but we have no time. Those are the polls.
All right, very good. That is going to do it.
Hang on, we got one poll. I don't care. They'll be a little late. Hold on.
What? What happened?
Hold on. I put a poll on YouTube. Give me
On
one.
YouTube?
Give me 1 second.
No, it's taking too much time.
Nope. No.
9, 8.
Should Lucas, bad friend, help Bert's belly by pumping his legs? 74% say yes. 26% say no. Lucas pumps my legs tomorrow on the show.
Tune in tomorrow to find out, I guess. See you tonight on Primetime.